Welcome to the Cherry Picker, the horror movie podcast where we like to kill people, but not really. I'm your host, Zach Cherry. With me, as always, is
You are a madman. Eddie of Edward is Truth.
and today we are talking about Halloween 666, the curse of Michael Myers,
The origin of
the
Michael
orange,
Myers.
the orange, September 29th, 1995.
Yeah.
What is that, 30 years ago?
Oh, you're asking me to do math.
And
Yes,
some
it
change,
is.
yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
easy math. Anything divisible by five.
No, that's why I could do
We're
it. I complained first, but then I did it.
yeah, we are currently, I mean, for anyone listening in the future, this is 2025, the month of October. And yeah, we've been just blowing through these Halloween movies as a little marathon over the last couple of months. And
Yeah.
this episode concludes that mini marathon because we kind of did this ass backwards
Mm-hmm.
in the regular podcast run. I think we started with Halloween 2018,
Mm.
did the that trilogy kills and ends, and then we kind of went backwards. We did Halloween H2O and then Resurrection.
Resurrection. Yeah.
Last year we did Season of the Witch, and now we're just like, okay, let's just get the rest of them out of the way. Except we didn't get to the Rob Zombie ones.
Because you can't sit through things like that.
Okay, okay, just because the regular listeners don't know this, we were literally just talking about the Rob Zombie movies, and Edward said, and I quote, "They are benumbing."
Yeah.
So I can't sit through them.
I do sit through them. They're benumbing, but I get numbed. I mean, and I meant the violence. I was speaking to, and I think I've said it on this pod before, so there's no need to defend myself. But
Look, but I would never not cover them on the podcast. It's just that, we don't have time. At some point,
didn't you?
at some point.
Didn't you say after like seeing House of a Thousand Corpses, you never need to see another Rob Zombie movie again?
I did say that, but there is the caveat that the Halloween movies, just because they're under the franchise umbrella, that
Okay.
I'm likely to see those again. But
Okay.
yeah, like after House of a Thousand Corpses, I was really kind of over anything else that
Yeah.
Rob Zombie had to do. But
Yeah, like we were talking about possibly maybe entertaining the notion of seeing Devil's Rejects, and you were like, I'm not saying that now. And I'm like, okay. No
yeah,
Firefly
yeah.
trilogy for
It's not
you.
for me. It's
Yeah.
it's not my thing. And then that's the thing. Like I could talk about things that I don't like, but like that, benumbing is like a really good word. But I also found it kind of boring.
Mm.
So there, sue me, whatever. Um, but we're talking about Halloween 6, which interesting because for the longest time, this was kind of like the ultra violent entry in the franchise until Rob Zombie came around.
Oh.
So in a way, I mean, I never felt that, the Rob Zombie movies, like they have their audience, but they never really kind of became endearing to the mass franchise fan.
Hmm.
So like I can't say that Halloween 6 was ahead of its time in terms of the gruesomeness and the violence. However, there was like a head stomping in RZH2, and
Right.
then there was the one in 2018,
Hmm.
Dr. Sartain.
Oh yeah.
So in a way, I feel like, maybe Halloween 6 did sort of or was the pioneer of just like, let's just make him like really aggressive
But
and
not initially.
hate kill people. Yeah.
Like you mentioned 666, the origin of Michael Myers, which was the original title that was
Yeah.
dropped in a trailer that I think it might have just made it onto VHS tapes at the time. I don't think it was
Oh,
on television as a commercial or anything like that. But when they
the good
were,
old days.
yeah, right. But they
Yeah.
were considering, like they were weighing their pros and cons and knew that they wanted to release the movie just how. and it was started out there. You could see a trailer for a while, and now it's on. It's a special feature on this release, the 4K thing. Jumping the gun, but there you go. But
I'm getting a little pushback. Amethyst Frost is ultra violent. So many of the kills are basically off screen. I'm I'm thinking, well, the ones that I remember quite vividly
mhm,
are for sure the head explosion,
okay.
because that's excessive, but in like the best way possible.
I mean, and they
Um,
upped Jamie's kill
well,
on that piece of farm
they didn't
equipment,
up it; they completely redid it
right?
to something else, and we'll get into that. But yeah, like her on that thing, like that imagery was always like a lot.
He dropped her on a machine and turned it on.
Turned it, well, he dropped her on the machine, and then she like reached out like an
Yeah,
angel,
yeah.
and he like took his. It was almost like the end of H2O where Laurie and Michael
Right.
are like gonna touch hands, and he's reaching in, and then he's like,
Hmm.
"Psych, bitch," and just
Yeah.
like pushes down,
And
and
then
then
just
he
like,
turns on the
yeah, like it
machine.
was
Yeah,
clipping his earlobe, just like, I'm gonna turn this on so she can just go, ah, and everything.
yeah,
And
yeah.
there's some stuff. I mean, they brought on John Carl Beekler, my fave,
Who also
when
did the
when
mask?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
they brought him on to like they brought him back when they wanted to punch up some of the kills and add a few in the last act. And I'm a fan of them. Like I think
yeah,
there was some fun stuff going on there. But
yeah.
I personally never thought about this as like an ultra violent entry even back in the 90s when I saw it. I remembered there was a
Yeah.
weird uh kind of because also I was only exposed to the theatrical cut, and I remember there was a weird kind of benign quality to that one because we'll get into it, but just the flow of it for me, I feel like I, I'm not even encouraged to chase. It's kind of like when you're really, really tired and you're babysitting a toddler and they're running all over the place, but they're staying in the room. So, well, why do I have to chase them? They're running around the room. They're fine. So that's how I watched the violence in the theatrical cut,
Mm.
which is kind of like it felt like it was like maybe it thought it was coloring outside the lines, but really I was just kind of like, you're still in the room. You're fine. You're
Yeah,
cool.
I
I
mean,
can
I think
chill.
just in terms of what the franchise had been at that point, and I
Hmm.
think we talked about this off the podcast, I
Hmm.
believe, but we were questioning like which Halloween movie has the best kills or like the most creative kills,
Mm.
and I think we both agreed that it was Season of the Witch. And
Yeah.
but even in terms of like what Season of the Witch did, I wouldn't say that it was as like aggressively violent
Mm-mm.
as what this is. So I think at the time, and this is like after a long gap of 6 years
Hmm.
between Halloween 5 and now or this,
Yeah.
that there wasn't anything. So it's like, like the audience has changed or audience temperaments changed, and especially in the 90s I felt like things were a little more unrestrained because like the 80s or like the late 80s was when like all the censorship was happening, and then I think that's when horror started to suffer, and the franchise was, or the genre actually, I mean,
Hmm.
was kind of dead
Yeah.
until Scream rejuvenated it, even though there was so many of my favorite horror movies that came out in the first half of the 90s. But it almost felt like they were throwing anything at the wall, and especially in terms of violence, just to like get people back into horror movies.
Hmm.
And
And
that was always
studio,
my interpretation of it.
well, studio interference like played a big part in it. There was this indie film surge, like, this renaissance, if you will, in the 90s, to the point where like all these big studios started developing smaller studios within themselves to develop independent looking films that felt, more raw and more independent and more outside the mainstream, like, for your consideration, or let's take the kids to go do something this week, to see something this weekend, kind of thing. But
Mm.
but the antithesis to that was like, yeah, I think the landscape also became at the other end of the spectrum, very, very corporate and very kind of like, and actually this is going to figure into the trajectory of this whole production for this movie, because for the first time they were working with the studio, and for the first time studios were chiming in, studio heads
Yeah.
like the Weinsteins were chiming
Well,
in with opinions that, yeah.
this was Dementia. This was one of the first films produced under the Dimension label, I believe.
Hmm.
Not the
Yeah.
first. There was, I think they
It was
started in '94, maybe. So
right,
this
but it
was,
was the early
yeah,
stages, yeah.
yeah,
So they didn't really know what to make of it. Like Pulp Fiction was on the scene, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, that's the cool new thing. Let's all be like
yeah.
that." And you can't, because Pulp Fiction was number one trying to be itself,
Well,
but also trying to be movies from the '70s. And it's like,
Pulp Fiction is the Miramax, like so that's like the
but I mean, just in terms of like the trend, like the
yeah.
things that people, because that's another thing is that that's why you can't depend on studio heads to have the greatest imaginations in terms of the direction that a particular feature should go, because what they want, they see something that's successful and they're like, I want something like that. Make me
Mm,
one of those, which you can't replicate, that kind of success,
yeah.
even if you play color within the lines. It's all about timing. It's all about like, the perfect storm. It's all about just so many factors that you cannot replicate a success no matter how hard you try.
Mhm. Well, I feel like, like we're about to get into a whole thing here and we need to like get through all the
Yeah.
regular stuff. I wanted to read some of these
Ooh.
live feed comments because I thought
Woo-hoo-hoo.
this one was pretty funny. Grant Dempsey, how is there no horror movie titled Blood on the Linen? It sounds
Ooh.
like a European film, like it's like not the original title, but it just, what the English title would be.
Blood on the linen.
Blood
Yeah.
on the linen.
Yeah. It's cute.
Flavor
I like
Eddie,
it
the
though.
mother who loses her glasses and turned into Velma from Scooby-Doo was hilarious.
Oh, I
Yeah.
like Deborah. And did
Well,
you catch it, John and Deborah?
John and Deborah, yeah.
The parents.
Yeah, there's a lot of little
John and Deborah
homages there.
Strode. Yeah.
So before we get to anything else, because we talked about this and you knew it was coming. So now that we've kind of collectively seen all the movies, except for the Rob Zombie ones, and look, we've seen them all a million times.
Yeah.
But that we've covered them on the podcast. We're gonna offer our official rankings.
Okay, so I going first.
So,
Okay.
do you want me to go first? I don't mind.
No, I'll go first. Let's
Okay.
keep the suspense because you're
Okay.
the title, you're the brand. Okay. I also do have, because this is just my personal ranking after revisiting these movies. I do have the Rob Zombies in there, but I don't have to include them if you're not going to include them. So
I'm not going to include them. That's
okay,
not,
so
yeah,
I will not include them then.
yeah.
I'll start from the bottom and work my way to the top, the same way I intend on screening these every time I do a marathon.
Mm,
So that way there's always something to look forward to. At the bottom, way down at the bottom, is Resurrection for me.
mm.
For reasons that should be obvious if you've watched that pod. I don't judge anybody for finding joy in that film. I do not.
Why don't we do back
Unless,
and forth?
okay, okay.
Yeah,
How about
because
you?
I also say Resurrection is at the
Okay.
bottom for me.
I think you're probably the person who I've had the most fun discussing the movie with.
Yeah.
Because we are so on the same page about it, and also because I don't hear that actress's voice anymore when she goes, "This is for me." I don't even remember the names. They're not even worth remembering.
Sarah,
Yeah, Sarah, but when she's just
this is for Jen, for Rudy, for all of them.
see, I
And then
hear
the
your
chainsaw
voice when I
stuff.
imagine
Yeah.
that now. So that's the best thing about
Come
the
on,
movie for me.
Sarah.
Yeah,
I just think of
right.
the girl from Friday, the
Friday the
final chapter.
13th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So just above Resurrection, my God, has it fallen from grace? But God, every
Mm.
time I sit down to watch it, I'm like, why? Halloween Kills. The opening is solid, and there's even stuff toward the end. Like I like them in the house and everything like that. Like the Myers house, or what Allison and her boyfriend and everything. That's pretty cool. But oh my God, that hospital shit and Evil Dies Tonight and the he's turned us all into monster. Oh, fuck this.
Yeah.
I can't. I can't. And it has one of the best kills of the franchise for me, which
Which one?
is it the old couple? Sandra is her name? I
Well,
think.
she
Is that her
doesn't
name?
die.
Well, no, but you know what I mean. Her husband when
Yeah.
she's and she
Oh,
gets
the one that just like he
attacked.
just like
When
let
he's
me
just
try to put
putting
all these
knives
like
into her
different knives
husband.
and yeah.
Yeah, while she's laying there watching. I think it's brutal as fuck. I
Yeah.
think it means Michael's an asshole, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the movie, sitting
Hmm.
through the movie, how about you?
I actually agree. I think that that is would be the next one.
This is new shit, folks.
Yeah. No,
We
I
don't do
and yeah,
this.
I just the opening is great. There are things in the movie that I love, but the overall package is just ridiculous and not in the sense of ridiculous that I like from this
Right.
franchise.
Okay.
Yeah.
So above that one, in this ranking of Halloween 2018,
Shut
another,
up.
it has fallen because this is the thing. It was
Me
really
too,
high. Oh
though.
my God!
Yeah.
It was really
Yeah.
high when it was the only movie of this trilogy that was released, and I thought there's a horizon to look to. I can't wait to see what's coming next. And now that I know what comes next, I watch this movie and I just kind of deflate. I don't, and again, this is not a movie I hate. We're at a point now where we're talking about movies that I'm like, there's probably as much to enjoy here as there is to trash, but
Mm,
or to criticize as there is to praise. But yeah, it's harder to sit through for me now. You say a
yeah.
thing.
I mean, the movie, I might have mildly enjoyed it the first time I saw it in the theater, and I saw it three times.
Okay.
But it just got more. I find Halloween 2018 be numbing. But not in a uh violence aspect like the Rob Zombies, but just in the way that it's so pretentious. And it gets worse with the trilogy, but just like the way that they're trying to intellectualize what Michael is. And I just feel like the instincts of like what is scary and what is like horror and what we're used to are just like everything is always like the chase scene of
Mm-hmm.
or the I use the term loosely of like Allison when she discovers the guy in the devil costume on the fence and then
Right.
runs, and it's just like why are we cutting this away from this moment, and they do it again in Kills with Lindsay.
Yeah.
So I just don't think that David Gordon Green was the person to do this trilogy,
Yeah.
bring it back.
Yeah.
As a like writing and directing. So I just found the whole thing to be kind of messy. And I agree as they went on and you kind of like had the trilogy and it wasn't just its own movie, it got worse and worse for me. Because it's just like I feel like the movies are trying so hard to say, look what we're doing, look what we're saying, and like no one is more of a advocate or a champion of this than Jamie Lee Curtis herself, just being like,
Mm.
oh, these movies are so important because they're about trauma. These movies are about nothing. Like, don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining, is
Little
what I
Judge
have to say
Judy
to
over
that.
here,
Yeah.
yes. But okay, and no, and also just like I agree with you in terms of the look what we're doing, which I feel with the homages as well. There are times where I'm just kind of like, could you just make your own goddamn movie? I love
Hmm.
homages when I feel them. I don't like them when I just kind of see them and regard them. I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, look, you did that thing that is from that other thing. Great. Like it should be used to pack a punch. Anyway, that said, above Halloween 2018 for me is Hens. Halloween Ends.
Me too.
Oh my
Oh my God. I love that
God!
we're hating all the same things together.
In the same order, because this
Nothing
is well, but
bonds people more than just than hating the same
than a
things.
villain. But see, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Again, we're at a stage right now where I don't hate these movies. These are just movies where I'm just like, okay, because this is the thing with Hens, is that I really believe that it is a balanced meal. Like, I mean, in terms of not a balanced meal, that's the wrong, just a balanced experience in terms of I have the highs are so fucking high for me, and the lows are so
Yeah.
motherfucking low. It's a fall from grace. It always starts with such promise, and I get to re-experience anytime I watch the opening, that kind of wonder at like, what am I watching? Who are these people? Why are we focusing on this of all things
Yeah.
at the conclusion of this trilogy? Oh my God, I'm so in. Because of what happens in it, because of the way it kind of reverberates with the town in a way. And anyway, there's fun to be had. I laugh at it a lot. And then there are things, pretty much everything with Laurie. Pretty much everything with Laurie. I'm like, this could have just been its own movie. You could have extricated Laurie. Fuck, extricate Michael. Just put some like bottom dweller that lives in the sewers or something like that. It could have been an It movie if it wanted to. That could have been Pennywise down there,
Yeah.
dying, and he could have become the new Pennywise anyway. But by the end of it, I'm always just kind of like, oh, this was a mistake. But I will watch it again. I do own it on
Yeah.
Blu-ray.
Oh,
So
wow.
anyway,
I don't even own it yet.
oh, okay.
Oh.
But no, I think it's a total mixed bag. I think there's an absolute balance between the benefits and the disadvantages of this film, and I will watch it again. How
Yeah.
about you, Zach?
I mean, I'm coming from more of a place of pettiness. Because I think maybe like low key, I just love it a little bit more because everyone hates it so much. Because it's just like I can't really separate each of these three movies as the trilogy. They're all one thing. So just the fact that everyone like I feel like that meme that's just like, when everyone starts to realize the person that you hated all along is an asshole and you just like have this smug satisfaction about yourself. That's how I feel because it's like I saw it coming. I knew that this was going to be a disaster from 2018. And when we got to ends and everyone was just like, how could you do this? And just like the writing has been on the wall since the beginning. But to speak, I guess nicely about it, I do love how bonkers it is. I really wish that, and speaking of studio meddling, because I feel like if they had
Mm,
just done the movie that I guess they stupidly wanted to do with this like Corey Cunningham stuff, it would have at least been a little bit more fluid. Because I feel like at the end, when suddenly like this character that you've spent the entire time developing is just going to get taken out by Michael in like a second, and then suddenly
hmm.
there's you shoehorn in this like little miniature battle between
Oh,
Michael and Laurie. It's just
Jesus.
like whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just like it for how offensive it is, I guess.
And that said, just to avoid like an echo chamber motif, I do understand that I've seen many people when they do their rankings in their feeds and everything, because I follow a lot of horror fans.
Yeah.
This is among, if not, their favorite Halloween sequel. So I'm like,
Oh
okay,
wow.
yeah, if you have fun with
Yeah.
it, oh my God, I'm so happy you have this movie
Yeah.
because I do too, but
Yeah.
not just
I just
fun.
I just
There's a
feel like out of,
downside for
out of
me.
the three, it has the most intention. I feel like for a
Mm,
narrative purpose, I feel like there's actually a structure to it, and even though it gets all fucked up by the end, like
uh-huh.
I don't get that from Kills or 2018. I feel like it's just like stuff happening, and then okay, now we're done. Whereas this one, everything that's happening at least feels like it's somehow related to what comes before it or comes after it in terms of like just like a cause and effect of scenes throughout the movie.
Yeah, if it had been its own thing, I think I'd like it even more
Yeah.
if they didn't have to tie in like, so we have to end the trilogy too, so tie this Jamie Lee Curtis bow at the end. Like, no,
Yeah.
it's Corey's story. We should have just
Yeah.
stuck with him
Cherry
to the end.
blossoms. Fuck off.
Oh, fuck Cherry Blossoms.
What's
Sounds
next?
okay. Just above that is Halloween 4. I said,
Ah, shut
oh
the
my
front
God.
door.
Oh
Who
my
are
God.
you?
I drank the Kool-Aid. It's cherry flavored. Anyway, okay. I said it in the pod very
Yeah.
recently. I think it's just kind of mid. It's fine. It's inoffensive, but even the remarkable parts of it kind of get doused with like some moments that I feel kind of lag. But I like it. I remember I disliked it more in my initial viewing. I just kind of felt like, And then, as the years have gone by, kind of like with the Friday the 13th franchise, the more I watch it, the more I'm just kind of like, but it's a part of me. you
Yeah.
know.
And I'll just say that this is like, the where we get into the Halloweens that I like.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so
Cool.
having it at the bottom doesn't mean thumbs down, this movie sucks. You can all
No.
shove this movie up your asses.
Okay,
That's
what's
not what we're
next? What's
saying.
next?
Above that, I have because I separated these, but they're both they don't have to be. So if you didn't, it doesn't matter. But
Okay.
I have the theatrical cut of Curse of Michael Myers, and then just above
Mm,
that, 666 Origin. It's not this is not 666 Origin, but the producer's cut just above.
right.
So what about you?
H2O.
Oh my God. Okay, we
Yeah.
were on such a streak.
I
Okay.
know. I knew that it was bound to change, but yeah. I
Brief explanation.
I mean, I think that H2O in terms of like narratively is such a
Mhm.
strong entry at like Jamie Lee Curtis. It's her best film in the franchise. It's her best performance. It's the production quality and like all the little mishaps and the things are kind of like it just feels like such a cheap movie to me.
Mm.
Um, and it's just sort of like depreciated over time. I still love it,
Sure,
but
sure.
it's just, when I think about the five movies that I have above this, like I look at them and just like visually there are things that I, can sit there and watch. But I will say that H2O has a better script than most of those movies.
Okay. And
Yeah.
for me, Curse theatrical cut, basically,
Well,
one
we're
word
about
that
to get
came
into
up.
it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we'll,
yeah.
but just
Yeah.
headline. Uh, Atmosphere, big
Yeah.
time. And that's a word that came up, I think, on the old pod when we covered
Yeah.
this. It was a big word. And I feel it's the only doubled down on, like, more so. Like, I mean, you really get to breathe and experience the environment more so of
Yeah.
Haddonfield in the producer's cut.
I
So,
thought,
yeah.
Edward, we got to get through this quicker. I thought it was
Okay,
going to
okay,
be
okay.
really.
Sorry. Just above that for me, Halloween H2O. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with what you said. I think the reason it's a little bit higher for me is just like something about the interpersonal relationship between Jamie and her son and everything like that. It works so motherfucking well.
Yeah.
Those two are so fucking good. But the reason why it's not higher is because, like, missed opportunities like the bathroom and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Very, very sanitized.
Yeah.
And Halloween 6 would be
Okay.
in that place for me as well. And
Okay.
I don't, I mean, we'll get into the differentiation as we get into the episode
Okay.
uh, between the producers and theatrical cut.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so above Halloween H2O on this list, I have Halloween 5.
Me too.
Oh my God. We're so close. I yeah,
Yeah, it's
if you
scaring the
listen
shit
to
out of me
that
actually.
pod, we have such a good time with this movie, flaws and all.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying it's a magnificent feat of filmmaking and that everybody should make movies like this, but I am saying I think it's just kind of like an imperfect storm that like slouches toward perfection for
Yeah.
me as a viewer. Anything for you to add?
Yeah. I mean, it's just such a good time. We talked about it
Okay.
last week. Just go listen to that.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Just to put that, I'm so scared. Season of the Witch?
yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it could vacillate 2 to 3, but
Mhm.
I feel like third is where
Well,
I'd settle.
I'd argue like the presence of a strong female character is definitely lacking in this movie even more so than
Yeah.
two. But also yeah, it just kind of I think you've said it before when you've talked about like that's your trilogy.
Hmm.
It does evoke something in me that I'm just kind of like, this is Halloween. Even though it's not Michael Myers Haddonfield
Yeah. It's John
Halloween,
Carpenter.
it's John Carpenter,
Yeah.
it's everybody who works with him, and it's just got a genuine feel for that what it was to be in that atmosphere, in that time, that work
Yeah.
atmosphere. And I like it. I like what I feel
Yeah.
when I watch it. So yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Same.
Okay.
And
Above
then
that, Halloween 2.
obviously, yeah.
Uh,
It's so memorable to me, so quotable.
yeah.
There's just so much about it that even though
Yeah.
it's might. be a little bit lackluster compared to the original, I still have
Hmm.
so much fun with it. Like I love the characters too. I think that,
Yeah.
the Marion Chambers, like just her coming back and having a bigger role, even though he's
Hmm.
not in it for long, but Sheriff Brackett, like all of the,
Right.
you let him out.
Right. And all of the alcohol induced
Yeah.
choices that John Carpenter made while he was,
Hmm.
quasi writing it, I think they all kind of like worked. He kind of failed upwards and they
That
worked in his
girl.
favor.
That
That
Strode
Strode
girl.
girl. That's Michael Myers' sister. ASMR for you folks.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, and it's again, this is the thing. I think we're getting to a point where also, like, if you look at these movies, I think what I feel Halloween is as a holiday, or what the month of October is, what the harvest season is at its core
Hmm.
for me, I get stronger and stronger emotions as we're moving through these movies. So, of
Yeah.
course, the last one I land on is the OG.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
OG.
it is the
Absolutely.
holiday. It really is for me.
Yeah, it's flawless. And
Yeah.
you can go listen to that episode if you want more justification. But yeah, so let's just do some quick housekeeping here because that took a lot longer. But I will say I am just shocked
As am I.
that
We've
we are
never
this
been so.
aligned, other than like this like switching up of six and H2O.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
never been like that, folks.
yeah.
That's as long as we've been ranking things.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so if you have been listening to the Cherry Picker or watching the Cherry Picker for a while, or if you're brand new, you can head over to Patreon if you want to give back a little bit more. Patreon is what keeps the wheels greased.
The lights on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to get more content because what you get to do is hang out with us as we record these in a live stream. And b before the cameras turn on, or I guess before we hit the record button, there's more fun to be had if you want to like hang out with us and shoot the breeze, as they
Yeah,
say,
say things.
horse around,
Yeah,
and
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 be
and
part
just
of the
get a little,
community.
yeah, just get a little bit more out of that. Yeah. And speaking of the community, a lot of people have now met each other through my Patreon and have become very close friends, and in some cases have started their own podcasts,
Hmm.
which is really cool and makes me happy to know that, you know, I feel like I'm responsible for that in a way.
The patriarch.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's a lot of other bonuses that you can get from being a supporter, such as, monthly video call hangouts and things like that, monthly reviews. So check that out, as well as that stuff. If you are supporting at the Freddy Krueger tier or higher, you will be able to nominate and vote for an episode that we do every month. So that's the Patreon's choice, which is next week, which is has been decided is going to be Trick or Treat from 2007.
Ooh.
Are you excited to talk about that one?
No.
No, because you're not going to be here because you've abandoned me for the evening. So,
I'm having my own Halloween excursion
yeah.
that evening, so it's a
So
limit. There's a small window this year, folks.
yeah.
I've had basically like 4 nights to myself, like in October. So,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna take advantage of one of them and go Halloween
Cool.
out.
Well,
Yeah.
Tim has graciously agreed to step in.
Yay! Special
So
ghost.
special guest. So yeah, you can, look forward to that next week. But, the prospect of nominating what we're going to talk about is a pretty nifty reward. So check
Hmm.
out Patreon. Even if you go over there just to join as a free member, is much appreciated, and you get to vote extra votes in every cherry picker poll. So something to look forward to. I just want to quickly shout out some of the top tier supporters. So to the Michael Myers tier, thank you to Kyle Beard, Sam Levy, Ali Hamouche, Shane Allingham, Tim McKay, same Tim who's going to be here next week, Horace Let 95, Traj 125, Austin Hall, Cara Day, Michael Boswell, Def Con, and then Ghostface supporters Eric Champney, Daniel Saturn, Stephanie Starbright, Baby Ghoul, Garrison Nichols, Craig Lynn, and Josh Burrow. Thank you very much to all of you all. Edward, do you have a premise for Halloween 6?
Yeah, I do. Hold on a second.
I know, I
Um,
know.
oh, and yeah, if you want to watch it, it's streaming on HBO Max at the moment, as of this recording, with a
Or
subscription.
get your physical
Or
media.
yeah, find your or get your physical media. We both held up our little Blu-ray 4K combos. There's also multiple Blu-ray releases for, well, not multiple, but I mean, there's the producer's cut was available
Yeah.
on its own, and you can find it. It's everywhere.
Sure.
Now here we are. 6 years. Or should I be Loomis? I don't even know what to do anymore.
You do Paul Rudd.
I do. Oh, because he's got a little affectation in this one. Okay, let me try it.
Yeah.
Oh, because yeah, he narrates the theatrical cut, but not in the
Yeah.
opening. But Donald Pleasance does the producer's cut. That's
You
what I
can lock
prefer.
it up and bury it and
Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. 6 years after the Shapes' last Haddonfield attack, his niece Jamie Lloyd escapes with her newborn child, for which a mysterious cult named Thorn has sinister plans to make this Halloween the curse of Michael Myers. It doesn't really make sense, but I couldn't find a way to.
I'm trying to do the sound effects.
But does yeah, he says like years. There's two lines that I
Yes.
wrote. Like he's just like oh, what was the other one? Oh, I survived. Like I'm like, where? Wait, okay, is this Paul Rudd's like early Paul Stephen Rudd, like kind of cute little like I'm an actor and I want to sound like I don't know from the North, but
Yeah.
or
The
or
north
is
of Haddonfield,
or did he
because we got the
shake?
Brooklyn and
Right. Like I'm a northerner, I'm a New Englander. But
yeah.
or is this just like an actual accent that he had that he ended up losing for Clueless and subsequently every other film that he's done?
Yeah.
Because I never heard him sound like this, but it runs throughout. It's just every now and then I cleared my
Yeah.
schedule. I didn't clear it, I cleared. So
Well, this was his first movie that he
yeah.
did. Like Clueless came out first.
Hmm.
Probably because this was just like held up in so much fucking studio shenanigans for some time.
Oh
But
boy.
yeah, and we're gonna get into the whole production or producer's cut versus theatrical cut of it
Yeah.
all. Actually, I did put a poll in the chat earlier, and it is, let me just finish that right now so we can see what
Okay.
the results are.
I was only 8 years old when I saw him. He kind of sounds like Kennedy.
Was he 8? I feel we talked about this. They were older than that, no?
I thought
I
so.
guess
I
he
mean,
was
they
eight.
don't.
No, because they were
He could
18 in
in four.
yeah.
Right. He was. Fuck.
Yeah.
He was eight. Oh my God, they got it right. Okay. Well done.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to the poll. I'm just gonna refresh
Oh
this. I think it
no,
was
the
like
poll disappeared.
the poll disappeared. I think it said 62%. Oh, here we go. Yeah. 62% theatrical, 38% producers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got a preference?
Yeah, because my ranking. Um,
Yeah, but
I
I
prefer.
forget. You once you just like added all these nuances, I'm just yeah.
I prefer the ride of the producer's cut just because I
Yeah.
mean like I said the difference for me in the introduction where you hear on the theatrical cut Paul Rudd's little voice sitting there talking about Michael
Yeah.
Myers and then you hear Donald Pleasance and immediately you know who it is who's
Hmm.
talking because if you haven't seen that the curse before and you hear Paul Rudd you're
Yeah.
like Paul Rudd okay but you hear Donald Pleasance talking you're just kind of like there's the weathered, you know, passage of time
Hmm.
and the weariness of the experiences that he's been through that he carries through it. Like, did Donald Pleasance ever record an audiobook? Because I need anything that he put his
Hmm.
voice on that I can just like play and just kind of sit there and just feel my endorphins release. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's a big part of it. I mean, that's a microcosm. I'm all about the microcosm
Yeah.
for me about
I
the
kind
difference of
of
the movie and the way
I
it.
mean, I don't have a preference to either one, but I don't hate the Paul Rudd one. Like I actually find that there's something, a little campy about it.
Oh, yeah.
I think that it probably would have made more sense and just fit the tone better if it had been the Donald
Right.
Pleasance narration.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can. That's the thing is because I prefer the theatrical,
Okay.
um, by a wide margin.
We're back,
Um,
baby.
yeah, there are things in the producer's cut that and I should say really like the original cut that I just wish that they had not cut out of the theatrical
Yes,
cut.
yes.
Like for instance, when like one thing that I always notice is when Kara goes to Danny, like the first time we're introduced to them,
Hmm.
and he's having a nightmare, and she does this like ritual where she's like, "Go away,
I got
goblins,"
it.
whatever she's yeah,
I've got it right
yeah.
here. Stay away, monsters. Stay away, ghouls. Stay away from Danny. You jerks know the rules.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart.
Yeah,
She's such a
like
good mom in that
should
moment.
have no, should have left it in.
And in the
Um,
theatrical release, yeah, it looks like she's just kind of like, "Oh, you had a nightmare. Go back to sleep. I love you. Good night." It's
you're
like,
good. You're good.
he's
Yeah.
scared. There's a man in his room. Do something. Interact with your son. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's big for me.
And then there's also the Dr. Loomis when Dr. Wynn shows up and he's talking about his surgery, his skin grafts, his
Skin
to
grafts.
get that boiled egg removed from
Uh-huh.
his
At
or not
least I
boiled,
don't
fried
frighten
egg.
people
Yeah.
anymore. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so wonderful.
Hmm.
Yes, I agree 100%. There's
Yeah. Just
also a number of scenes that are maintained in the theatrical cut, but only kind of like the meat of them. You don't get the people moving into the room, and you don't get like kind of like the aftermath once the new information has been introduced. So I feel kind of like I'm watching buses pass by.
yeah.
And I'm just kind of like trying to read the side of the billboard, trying to like maintain, okay, so where's the story going? That's another reason I kind of favor the producer's cut, which, like I
Yeah.
said, it breathes for me.
Yeah. Well, so for me, because like I'm of the belief that the most important aspect of any movie is going to be your script. If it's a bad
Mm,
script, it's
mm.
probably going to be a bad movie. There are some exceptions. We covered Showgirls a while back, where you can have a good movie from a bad script. But I think that this story, from the onset, was just really flawed. I don't think that there was really ever salvaging any version of what this was going to be.
Hmm.
And, clearly like this is something that like just like took a swing for the fences and, failed in a lot of regards to the point where the studio is just like, this is nonsense. We're we we can retain the nonsense, but we want at least like atmosphere or just some sort of like tone
Hmm.
to be consistent. And I feel that for like for what the studio did, I agree with them. I think that the changes that the studio made were all probably like 95% the right choices because I don't watch this movie and like I don't get upset by how bad the story is because I watch this and I see probably like one of the best looking movies of this franchise just in terms of the cinematography and lighting outside of the original trilogy of like anything that Dean Cundey was responsible for. Like there's just something very atmospheric about what I see here like right from the beginning when they're running through these catacombs
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
the nurse stops to turn around and it's just
Oh,
like pitch black behind her and we see Michael materialize out of the
yeah.
shadows. It's just like that's just classic Halloween to me and it's done so well like
Hmm.
everything like every part of this movie, every shot just feels like it's just transcended. It's on another level. So I probably like when I first saw this, which I've talked about before, this was actually the first Halloween movie I saw, and I was very
Hmm.
confused for a plethora of reasons.
Yes.
But I think for the longest time, this was my least favorite of like at that time what would have been up to H2O sort of seven movies. And
Right.
it was probably because it was just such a clusterfuck of a story. But,
Hmm.
as like I said, like where the script is always the most important part for me, that's not always the case because sometimes you can have a bad script, but if the filmmaking is actually pretty good, it's you don't notice that, and you're instead focused on the things that, you know, stand out to you and just like and look really neat. And this is where I, talk about H2O and I look at that and, it does feel kind of cheap to me in a lot of places. I don't see that here, and this is the same studio. So that's a huge factor. And I think the color grading of the theatrical cut is also much better.
Mm.
I just like because it's got like kind of like a colder uh hue to it. At least like in some scenes like where it should be warmer, they're warmer, and then when it should be cold, it's colder. It feels like there's a lot of intention put behind like every creative aspect. You
Has
wanted
that
to say something?
did you notice that with the 4K as well? Because I definitely noticed that with the initial release of the producer's cut on its Blu-ray standalone, and it actually kind of like kept me favoring the theatrical release because I preferred that contrast of like when it was daytime and the flesh tones were warm and it was warm when it needed to be warm and cold when it needed to be cold, and then the
Hmm.
producer's cut just seemed to have kind of like a chill on the old Blu-ray. Watching the 4K, it feels
Yeah.
as though they've really kind of adapted, like given it the same finish, or at least a similar enough finish to my eye as the theatrical cut in this new 4K release.
Um, I didn't really get that. Like everything felt very consistent
Okay.
throughout. Like it was just like sort of like one like particular filter.
Okay.
But no, I just like it things didn't pop the same way that they did for me in the theatrical.
Okay.
I just think that like in terms of what the theatrical cut does, like it's so much more stylized. And this is like, especially down to like the editing, which I can understand how it can be considered very obnoxious with like how like all these like slices and almost like
Mm,
strobe light shit that they do. But it just sort of like it fits in with the music really well, and I love the music. Okay, so
mm,
here's the thing. It's the music in the producer's cut. I feel like there's not that there's anything wrong with it, but it is very much like samey of like what we've heard before.
hmm.
But I think that the thing that the music does in the producer's cut that I really don't like is how it just feels like it's shoehorned into places where it doesn't fit. So you'll have like certain arrangements that just feel like this does not match what we're looking at on screen. Like I think like for most of the kills, especially like the nurse kill at the beginning, I don't remember what it was specifically, but it just like it's almost like there's a delay in what's happening. It's just like, we're seeing him come out of the shadows, and it's just like whatever the music is doing is not reflective of the intensity or just like the emotion of what we're seeing. And it
Okay.
felt to me like throughout most of the movie, it just like you're just it's almost like it's very masturbatory of
Mm,
like, oh, we're gonna have this like here's Laurie's theme. Like Laurie's not even in this movie, but we're gonna throw her thing in here. Scenes of Kara just walking around the campus, which just like could be completely cut. So the music almost feels like very filler-like to me. Then you get to the theatrical version, and it's got this like electric rock, like there's just like these
uh-huh.
wild riffs and just like this nuance of just the music that we're used to that just feels like it would be horrible in any other Halloween movie, but here, just because everything is so frenetic and
Mm.
flashy, it works. And this is like right down to the sound design as well. Like everything is just like it feels very cohesive with what we're seeing, and it's loud and it's aggressive, but it works for me.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I think in terms of the changes and even just the the adjustments that were made for the pacing of the theatrical release, I can it's a more high octane score. Also, just for the record, like Alan Howarth did the scores for both cuts, so we're not,
Mhm.
you know, pitting two composers against each
Yeah.
other. And you can actually, I have it on Tidal. There's an edition where you have the producer's cut score, and then it's volume one, and volume two is the theatrical score, and you can listen to either one you want
Mhm.
or both, kind of like with the movies. But it's interesting to hear you talk about that because for me, there are even though it moves faster, there are moments in the theatrical cut that just kind of like feel dead to me, that feel actually kind of enlivened by moments of like Alan Howarth's revisions of like John Carpenter's original score. One of them that immediately comes to mind
Ellen
is
or
when
Alan?
Alan. Maybe
Oh.
I'm just not speaking well, but okay. So it's Alan, Alan,
Alan.
I believe. Alan, Alan. There we go.
Ellen.
We clear? So,
Thank
no,
you.
when Tommy is in the bus station, just kind of like trying to like retrace Jamie's steps and finds the baby and all of that. Like he walks through, he's looking around, there's a bunch of people. He goes over and he asks like, I don't even remember what he's asking. I just remember the expression on his face.
Did
Um,
did a bus come in from
yeah,
Pontiac
there
last
you go.
night?
That, yeah.
Yeah. Are you waiting for someone? Thank you.
Right. In the theatrical cut, there is no score. And as it's happening, I remember I'm watching and I'm just kind of placidly looking on. Then I watch the producer's cut again, and I see that it's all with the Halloween theme playing underneath it. So there's this like kind of like just extra added tension to me because Myers is in the air, Tommy's being vigilant, and all of a sudden it just kind of like just infuses it with an energy that it didn't have for me before when it was just silence. Now I love silence as well, but I thought it worked better. So that's an example of like something for me. But that said, the electric guitar riffs, particularly in the revisions to the climax, which are many, I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It like there's no way you could have just kind of like or not even that there no way you could have it, but there is something to just kind of like the the rock god element of Michael Myers
Hmm.
approaching Tommy as he's going at a lock with that giant fire extinguisher is what it is, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I mean, again, it's not like one is they're literally ranked like right alongside each other. So one is not like
Yeah.
completely dismissible, and the other one
Do you
is,
think that like maybe
the
there's a
law.
version like if you,
Hmm.
Edward, is truth, were to take both versions and edit them together to get the best of both worlds, do you think that that's possible and that would be your
Absolutely.
your ideal movie?
I'd boast about it.
Yeah.
I'd boast about the best of both worlds. No, because this is the thing. I saw already like some people in our feed like discussing that they prefer like the first chunk of the producer's cut, but the ending, the climax for them is actually kind of like what sends
Yeah.
people into a little bit more leaning toward the theatrical cut. And I understand that. Because I do understand that it is a bit anticlimactic at the end of the producer's cut. Here, everything I think has been set up a little bit more properly, but the payoff is just kind of like, and now you've immobilized Michael by putting some runes around him,
Yeah.
and okay. I have nothing but questions
Well, just to
about the
to
lore.
to put uh
Yes.
uh, uh the music part of
Yeah.
this to that or just finish this off
Okay.
because you're talking about the Halloween score underneath this, and I vaguely remember I watched it like 2 nights ago and then
Okay.
the theatrical cut last night, but did, remember we watched all the James Bond movies.
Yeah.
um So early on, like back in like the Sean Connery era, like the first two movies, like Doctor No from Russia with Love, they were like trigger happy when it came to playing the do 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 do, and it would just like show up everywhere in the movie. It would be like Bond gets to his hotel room and he's sort of like investigating around to make sure the room's not bugged, and it would be playing the theme song in this moment, and it's just sort of like we have this music, we have to use it, and it just like doesn't necessarily fit with the action that's going on. That's how I feel about the producer's cut of just like how
Oh.
liberally they use the Halloween
Hmm.
theme music. Um,
Okay.
and then just to speak of the one moment where I disagree with the sound design is the scene where Kara and Danny have come into Tommy's room, as it were, in the boarding house or whatever, for the
Yeah.
first time. And he's trying to feed the baby, and she comes over and she's just like, "Oh, let me." um, and, and
Boogeyman.
calms the child down, and then she says, and I think the line is, "All it takes is a mother's touch," and then it's just like crash slice, beep, 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 and suddenly they're at the computer and like looking at
Yeah.
this rune stuff, and it's like, was that necessary? Did we need that there
Well,
in that
see,
exact spot?
that's where you get kind of like also when you take certain things out, it's always trouble when you take like original source material, things that were structured in a particular way, so one thing can lead into another. But then if you take away an element earlier that needs that moment to happen later, then okay, so that moment's not going to happen. So now we have that jump cut between like mother's
But
touch. Now we're going to learn about the runes. But for me, what I loved about seeing the producer's cut right after that, because I felt what you just described, I was like kind of
yeah.
like, what an odd, and also like kind of like like you're supposed to be feeding him like what like he has the bottle there, she got him to stop crying, okay, but the baby still needs to be fed, so let's not pat ourselves on the back too early, okay, Kara. But for me, then I saw the producer's cut, saw the exact same moment between the two of them when she says all it takes is a mother's touch, and then we jump cut there. It's a transition because we've introduced the idea of the mother. We go back to Jamie, who is still, like on life support in this particular cut, and it takes us back to the mother. And I don't know, there was something about it that almost spiritually just kind of spoke to me, where I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, someone's caring for the baby, but who's caring for Jamie? I don't know. There was something about it that thematically that just kind of worked for me. It seemed like a glorious musical transition for me of, tonally, just kind of like,
Mm.
I don't know. So that's another reason why I prefer, this cut over everything.
Well, all I think about in that moment in the producer's cut is, I mean, let alone the fact that Jamie's trajectory in the
Mm.
producer's cut is just horrendous.
Oh.
Because I don't like the scene in the barn, which I think is supposed to be the tower farm, if I'm not mistaken.
It looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, we're going back to the tower farm
I hope.
where it all started, and she just like she hobbles into this open barn and just sits down
Hmm.
right in the doesn't even try to hide. It's very reminiscent of a movie that we covered recently. I Know What You Did Last Summer, 2025, when the podcaster, sorry, investigative journalist
Journalist,
goes
yes.
up the not the trolley, the lift, and gets to the attic, and rather than look for a hiding place, is just sort of like walking around in like wonderment of like, oh, there's all these mannequins that are covered in, oh wait, the killer's caught up with me and now I'm gonna die. So it just like it's stupid that she's just takes this seat on this like block of hay in the middle of this barn, and then is surprised when Michael like slowly saunters up, and she doesn't, it's like she stands up into the knife. She doesn't, he doesn't stab her, she senses his presence, and she stands up and turns around into his
Hmm.
knife
Hmm.
and just drops, and she says the line which is also used in the theatrical when she's like, you can't have the baby, Michael.
You can't have the
and
baby. Yeah.
and then that's it. And then she's taken into the hospital, and then to get for a Halloween movie, for like a death of a character that's so important, that she's
Mhm.
just shot in the head while she's resting or in a
Right.
coma or whatever. It's just
Hmm.
like this was disrespectful.
Oh yeah.
Like it's people might complain that they were disrespectful to Jamie already, and Rachel and Lori and
Sure.
you know, whoever, whatever character comes back and is killed, right? Alice, Friday the 13th part two.
Reaching
But
into other franchises now,
but
but yes.
yeah, but it's just like at least like they did something in the theatrical cut. Here it's just, this scene that you're talking about, this transitioning to her having this dream, it's just it feels so like a whimper, like where she's going out on a whimper rather than this like grinding, like my guts are like coming out of my stomach on this thresher. But the funniest thing to me, because it's like this footage is so bad in her dream, where it's sort of like black and white footage, and
Hmm.
she's watching. I guess it's her POV, but the man in black, and you
Hmm.
can't see me if you're watching because my box is small. But he's got his arms outstretched like this, and he's like hovering and just moving forward. It's like he's
Hmm.
soaring through this hallway, and it just always looks so stupid to me. But it
Okay.
just like this section, just whatever this nightmare is, it just feels so cheap. Like however they crafted this dream, it looks like shit.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it's I'm not going to sit here and say like, no, the producer's cut of Jamie's death is, the
I
prevalent
want
one.
you
It's the one
to.
that made it. No, no, no. It's not that. But for me, it's more just kind of like I think there's like, some benefits and disadvantages to both of them. And because I can appreciate something about the
Yeah.
theatrical destruction of Jamie. I mean, it happens way earlier, so we don't have to like. I mean,
Yeah.
that's another thing. Okay, we'll get into it later. But the whole absence of Danielle Harris and everything like that. I've grown to like move into either cut of this movie, just kind of going like, you have to move into acceptance.
Yeah.
You can't, because my body, that was another point of like not enjoying the theatrical cut the first time I saw it, and maybe the second and third and fourth and fifth, because
Mhm.
my body rejected that I'm not watching Danielle Harris. It's so stupid. And now that I know the story, I'm even kind of angrier
Yeah.
on her behalf. But I accept the film.
Yeah. And
Uh,
Amethyst just, brought this very topic up as well in the
yes.
chat. Do you want to delve into what that story is, just for anyone who is not familiar?
For anybody who hasn't seen, because Danielle Harris has addressed it on her podcast, and she's also addressed it in a special feature on the releases, the
Hmm.
4K releases that we hold up before you. But she essentially was told she saw there was a casting notice for Jamie, about 5 years after she played the role last, and she'd been
Hmm.
on board. She even moved to LA to be part of like the sequel, and it just kept not happening, kept not happening. Saw that they were casting 5 years later, but via her agent, she wasn't given exposure to it for somebody 18 and she was 17, so they knew that, so they were casting somebody who they could work longer hours, didn't have to educate and all of that shit. She offered to become emancipated, so she's essentially legally an adult and can work any hours they want to put on her. She did that, paid about 3,000, four
I
thousand
think
dollars
5,000 was
Oh,
the rate.
okay.
Yeah.
It depends which version of the story you hear.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she paid thousands of dollars to become emancipated.
Oh no,
And
I'm
then,
sorry. They offered her 5,000 for the role. I
oh, okay.
misunderstood what you were saying. Keep
No, no,
going.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so she spent a few $1,000s to become
Yes.
emancipated, and they offered her, I heard actually that it was even less, but okay, because this is the
Mm.
thing. All she wanted to do was clear whatever she had spent to become emancipated, and when they offered her what was scale, it didn't surpass whatever it was that she had paid. So whatever that amount was, it was like I at least would like to break even. It's not about like it's not even. Yes, she deserves that actresses should take up space and be paid what they're worth and all of that. But that wasn't even what was on her mind at the time. She was like, I just spent like thousands of dollars so I could do this movie. And now you're telling me like I'm basically completely discardable. I'm a small role. I get killed early on in the film, so I'm getting paid scale and then that's just the way it is. And if you don't
Yeah.
like it, then move on. By the studio.
Craig says she was offered $900 a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, she didn't like the script either when she first read it.
Well, she wasn't happy
And
about getting killed off.
yeah, she wasn't happy about
Yeah.
getting it. And even just the way they handled Michael, I remember she was just kind of like, well, this Thorn cult stuff and everything, this is not what makes these movies. This isn't why people go to see these
Mhm.
movies, which I think she has a point. It took me a while of watching this movie to really appreciate it. But I landed there. And anyway, she was like, okay, fine. Well, then if I'm that, dispensable, then maybe I just don't want to be a part of this. And even Daniel Farron's, the screenwriter, and Malika Akkad have gone on record to say they pushed and fought for her really hard. They're like, you don't understand. The fans are expecting her in this movie, and studio just wouldn't budge. They just felt like no, people are coming for Michael Myers, so screw it. So whatever. So they ended up casting. I can't remember her name right now. She has two
JC
initials.
Brandy.
JC Brandy. Thank you.
Yeah.
And who I think actually does a really really good job And didn't deserve like a lot of the hate that she got. I understand where it came from, but I think it wasn't warranted because if she did play the role and she was bad, that's one thing. But I really connect with her, any moment that she's on screen. And
Yeah.
again, it's just about kind of accepting, okay, so this is grown up Jamie,
Well, they said like
18-year-old Jamie.
she's, well, she'd be like 15.
You're right, but
Yeah.
whatever. It's
She looks
just
older.
and they
Yeah.
don't look anything alike either. It's not like they did like a good job. If you took two photos of the two of them and put them, she has blue
Hmm.
eyes, and they gave her contacts to make her eyes brown.
Oh, did
So,
they?
yeah,
Yeah.
there's an interview with her where she talks to all of this. JC Brandy does on the 4K or
Well, at
on the
least they,
Blu-ray
I
rather.
mean,
But
like, gotta appreciate that attention to detail.
yeah, right.
Um,
That's the crucial detail upon which every audience is going to be like, wait a minute, she has blue eyes. But anyway, anyway, that said, all of this, like moving into these scenes and everything like that, watching the I don't want to see this character extinguished at all. In fact, Daniel Farron said he did not write either kill scene for her. I don't know who did. They have not come forward. In his original
mhm.
script, which then he sold and was out of his hands after that. She is certainly incapacitated, like she is in the producer's cut, but then disappears. People don't know what happened to her.
Yeah.
So there's this mystery around it. You kind of forget about her because the movies. And then finally, when they're in the catacombs trying to find the way out, Kara and Tommy and the baby and little Danny, all trying to find their way out, suddenly there's Jamie, like an angel, who knows the catacombs by now, knows the way out, and leads them out. Michael is pursuing them. She goes toe to toe with Michael in full final girl style. And we get you know, I can't put it any other way. I'm sorry. We get the cum shot. We get this battle that is now three movies in. Like and get to see her just really just rail on him and know him and rage against him,
Yeah.
her own rage. Like that
Well,
would
that would have
have been
been
amazing.
like the equivalent of Laurie Strode's H2O final battle, because
Right.
that's like sort of like the trilogy of 127, or even
Yeah.
like, or even the 2018 Kills Ends final
Yeah.
battle. It's
No.
just, yeah, because I mean, at that point, Jamie never really went toe to toe with him. Like, in
No.
four, she's pretty much like she's separated from him. Like, she's not really in close quarters with him all
Yeah.
that much until it's just her and him left and she's running away.
Yeah.
And then in five, it's probably a more intensified version of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's never had the opportunity to
To
do battle with
defend
him.
herself.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that
That
would
would
have
have been
been
amazing.
interesting for sure.
And I probably would have been even angrier in the 90s had I seen not Danielle Harris doing that, but
Yeah. Danielle
but
Harris was in another franchise. I think it's like the Hatchet
oh
movies,
yeah.
because
Oh,
she was a recast. She replaced the
yes.
original actress.
But she was up. It was between her and the original
Mhm.
actress, and apparently, sorry, just a little tangent.
Yeah,
I can't remember the director's name right now. That filmmaker, um, Hatchet.
yeah, not sure.
Anyway, him.
It's yeah.
It'll come to me. Somebody will remember in the feed. But no, he said, "No, I just got a feeling about this other actress. Like you're great, and I'd love to work with you. I want to work with you on something else, but I just got a feeling about this actress. I think she's the right choice." And then she ended up not wanting to come back for the sequel. And then he asked Danielle Harris, and she was like, "Will you admit that you made the wrong choice?" He's like, "I did make the wrong choice." She's like, "All right, I'll do the sequel. I'll do anything else because you know me. I'm a trooper. I'm going to
Yeah,
show up.
good for
I'm going to work." And
her.
I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" And
Yeah.
God, does she serve in Hatchet too? But anyway, she's like grunting and crying, and I'm like, "Girl, we're in the third scene. Good for you." Anyway, in terms of her killing off. Because we've covered a lot of ground since that question.
Yeah.
I don't prefer either one, but I do. I can appreciate the brutality. Like there's something just about the pedestrian nature with which Michael just kind of flips the switch to get those gears going on the piece of farm equipment that she's been, thrown on in the theatrical cut that just feels, again, that asshole quality that I like when every now and then they make Michael a little bit of an asshole, not just a killer and not just a pervert, but an asshole.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, I like that. I like
Well,
seeing
it's
his
the
detachment
the
from what he
trickery
does.
that I told you about, where it's just like reaching in, like, oh,
Yeah.
like let me help you.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, oh my God, to echo that moment where she's
Yeah.
like saying, let me in five. See, on that level, I appreciate it. But there's something
You see
about
a tear in
one more
Halloween
tier.
6, Michael.
But it's a mock tier. It's a tier of
Yeah.
mockery.
A
Um,
blood tear.
yeah, right.
Mhm.
That'd be funny. But anyway, then in the producer's cut, I think what everything that you were criticizing about her sitting alone, something that I kind of appreciated about that moment that I actually thought about was she's sitting there, she's completely vulnerable, but what I was getting just from that moment, I don't know if she was necessarily performing it this way or if it's just my head canon, but I just read into it like, well, what is there left to really kind of fight for? I wondered if she was assessing, like, my mission is done, the child is safe. Is this just going to be the rest of my existence, however long or short it is from this point? Is it just going to be me running from Michael? Is that what I'm doomed to do? So that it all kind of made sense to me why she might even for a sliver of a moment entertain the notion of not fighting back. But and also there's something so it's not gratifying isn't the word, but I guess gratifying as a moviegoer about witnessing Loomis witness her in critical condition, and because I don't believe he does this in the theatrical cut, but in the producer cut, like imploring with her, like like telling her, "I should have stayed with you. I shouldn't have ever let you go." Like and she's like, "Oh my
Which
God,
is
oh
a
my God."
and she should have been like, "You motherfucker, you used me as bait."
She could have just sat up and just been like, "You're fired." But no, but there's just something about watching. Again, I love watching him not be able to outrun his destiny, which seems to be linked with Michael. And that's another thing. Oh, because there's even again, okay. I don't remember exactly when it is in the producer's cut. It could be right after he hears Jamie on the phone, or right after he goes with Wynn to Smith's Grove and gets told that Jamie is alive, that she's in critical condition. After one of those moments, I can't remember which, there's a jump cut to his face, to him opening up a case and immediately taking out a gun because it's go time. And we don't get that at either one of those moments. Like it just kind of jump cuts to him like Jamie in the theatrical cut, and then when and the oh my God, the truncated version of the scene where he goes back to Smith's Grove and meets the Irish question mark secretary, the receptionist, and she's just kind of like he attacked Jamie, Lloyd or whatever, and then it just cuts out, and I'm just kind of like, no, I need to see Loomis go
Well, because it
into like
was,
it's go into action mode.
yeah.
I need to know he's no longer practicing medicine, but he's on the case
The
now.
like the thing is with the theatrical cut, like probably what
Yeah,
I don't like about it the most is just how truncated his screen time is.
sure.
But even then, I feel because he died, was it during production? It was after the initial production, but before the reshoots.
Right,
So they had to, because so much of what he filmed was intrinsically tied to what that story was, that when the
right.
reshoots came, it's like, well, we can't really do this. So they had to cut so much of him out. Um, but it always seemed confusing to me anyway. And this is where I go back to like it's a bad script because he's like, I'm done. I'm writing my memoir. Like it's just
Hmm.
like it's over. I'm
Yeah,
not going, like it makes no sense for this uh Dr. Wynn to be retiring, who's much younger than Donald Pleasance, for him to be like, I'm retiring and I want you to go, you old man, to go back and take my place. And he's like, you must be crazy. He's like, it's not wise to play Halloween pranks on me or whatever he says.
yeah.
And to then go, I guess because he hears the radio thing and hears her, that's why he's decided to take Wynn up on this offer, but it's never really fleshed out in a way. So I just feel like that's probably why that scene was cut out because it doesn't make any sense. But I wanted to say, well, I wanted to ask you, and
Yes.
this is such a niche thing, but when she's on the phone and she's like, "Help me, Dr. Loomis, Dr. Loomis, Dr. Loomis." Do you think about that episode of The Simpsons where it was uh, the Planet of the Apes the musical where
Oh,
it was
Dr.
like Dr.
Zaius?
Zay where there's like to the tune of Amadeus.
Yes. Dr. Zaius, Dr.
Amadeus,
Zaius.
Amadeus,
Dr. Zaius,
Amadeus.
Dr. Zaius.
Help me,
Dr.
Dr.
Zaius, Dr.
Zaius.
Zaius.
Because every time I hear that, I think of that. Help
I
me, Dr.
did.
Loomis, Dr. Loomis,
No,
Dr. Loomis.
no, I do not do
Well, now
that.
you do, and now everyone else does, I hope.
Oh God. No, I talking about moments of levity though. Like, I mean, again, like, yeah, Donald Pleasance, my God. Oh, what a man. Just the way he
What a
delivers
mensch.
these lines. He loved the script originally, the one that he was handed,
Hmm.
and was really enthusiastic about returning to this role with this particular piece. So I'm glad that he at least got to do what he got to do, and I'm glad that we got as much access to his footage as we have with the producer's cut.
What do you
But
think his opinion would be of the final product?
you mean the theatrical release or his opinion? Because this is the thing, the producer's
Yeah.
cut is the producer's cut, but even Malek Akkad and Daniel, I keep losing his name because it's so
Barons.
Farrens.
Yeah.
I always want to call him Torrance, Daniel Torrance. I think I'm stuck in in The Shining, but
Mm.
little Danny Torrance. But he no, Daniel
Oh,
Farrens.
237, the room that Kara's being
Yeah, I didn't
held
like
captive in.
that. I did not
Well,
like
I'm just bringing it
that.
up because mentioned The Shining.
I saw that. That's one of those homages where I'm just kind of like, okay, wrong moment. You know, we're supposed to be engrossed in what we're watching. Like, oh, look, it's The Shining. Great. Anyway, I rolled my eyes when I saw that. But anyway, Daniel Farrens and Malika Akkad have gone on record to say, like, the producer's cut, while they're grateful for its existence and that people can see kind of like where they were, it was a stepping stone. It was where they landed with the test audiences. They knew that more work needed to be done and that there were going to be reshoots and that they were going to have to respond. The thing was, it was completely ripped out of their hands. Like legally, they had no access. And Mustafa Akkad really wanted to, but also was at a certain point just said, I just have to sign it away. I'm being told by legal that we don't have a leg to stand on. It's the studio's movie and they can make the changes they want. It's changes
Mhm.
we don't want to see, and it's, you know, and again, it's truncating, you know, Donald Pleasance's contribution and everything. It's not the film we set out to make, and neither is the producer's cut, but it's you know, closer to the vision that we had. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we can see both and experience the benefits of both. But so for me, um I feel like I was answering a question and I got sidetracked. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't remember,
Okay,
but
well then,
yeah.
but in terms of just like the cuts of the film and everything like that. Oh, because you asked me a question before, like, do I think there's an easier, a
Well, I
better
just said, what do you
version
think
to combine? Yeah.
uh, Donald Pleasance's reaction would have been to
Oh, but his
the
reaction?
finished product? Because I know for a fact, like I believe I read it somewhere that he
Yeah.
hated Halloween 5.
Mm. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I I wouldn't hate it. If he were to tell me that, I'd say, "Oh, please don't hate it." I still love the work you're doing, and I still love that film. But that said, with this one, I think there's enough in it that just kind of keys into like what's already existed in terms of even just like I mentioned the moments of levity that he gets to find as Loomis, the
Yeah.
rare moments.
Where's
This one,
his Lonnie, get your ass away from there moment, I think.
yeah, it just kicks off at his entrance in the movie for me. It's just kind of like when they say, "Is that Loomis dead?" He's just kind of like, "Oh, not dead, just very much retired." You know, he's just so joyful at that moment, and even a little bit like again, like there's some softer moments there where he gets to kind of like just ruminate in his freedom, his relative freedom, when he and Win toast to old friends, and he just goes to old friends. And he just kind of grins a little bit and then just, nods and drinks like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll drink to that. Like, I mean, just little
Hmm.
softnesses to the character that we don't always get because he's too busy screaming at the top of his lungs,
Which just does not happen here. I wonder if he like couldn't do it. Like there, like maybe his doctor was like, you gotta rest your vocal
He,
cords. So he,
everybody has gone on record saying that he was very feeble. Like
yeah.
there was a lot of care taken, with the time that he allotted and everything. He already by Halloween 5 was not a shoot all night kind of actor, at that stage in his life. So by 6, it was just kind of like bring him onto the set. Let's do as many takes as we need, but also that we know that he can do. And the thing is, he would deliver, like on the first take, thank God.
Hmm.
So he's a pro. But also, I
Hmm.
mean, you mentioned the line. Also, I love just like, you should know that it's not wise to play Halloween pranks on me. Oh, I just one thing that they kept saying in the research that I was doing, they kept talking about how he could make any dialogue, not to dismiss any dialogue from the Halloween sequels, but they could always end up sounding like Shakespeare coming from his mouth, even if it was just "Good morning." It just has that wonderful kind of like
Yeah.
I'm of another era, like, and then but I'm a gentleman, kind of like thing to it.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I wonder what his reaction would have been had he seen it. I think he might have been upset at the end of the theatrical release, given that like he kind of like Laurie before him
Yeah.
had died off screen.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean, if
well,
we're led to believe that
okay.
that's what's happening.
If he died off screen, because like all we hear is like that,
Ah!
which is like the
Ah!
only
Yeah.
screaming that he does in the whole movie.
Hmm.
Um, which we get to see in the producers. But I mean, I like to still somehow like just by a sliver pretend that like all the movies are connected at least up until that point. So
Okay.
6, Michael still like he gets away or whatever, and Loomis ends up having the life that we find out at the beginning of H2O, where he did retire and he
Mm,
was living with Nurse Marion, who
yeah.
took care of him and all that. So, in the 3 years between sequels, like maybe he went in there and Michael was gone, or maybe Michael like roughed him up a little. I could just see Michael like giving him a few gut punches and he's like ah, and then they're like, okay, Loomis, you are definitely retired, we're bringing back your old friend Nurse Marion, she's gonna look after you, and then that's sort of like bleeds in like the that's the connective tissue of how Loomis got to that point, and then he just died naturally.
Okay, see, I prefer the
Yeah,
bleakness of the producer's cut, even though, okay, I can't make heads or tails. It is time. Zach,
yeah.
okay. I don't know if this makes any more sense to you than it does to me, but the discussion of the lore, and if anybody wants to pipe in the feed, by all means, if it makes sense to you and you understand something I don't.
All
Okay,
right.
so the lore. These tribes would like kind of invoke like the Thorn power into like one child, and the child on the night of Halloween would kill their family, but everybody else in the tribe would be safe.
Yeah.
I forget if they mentioned if anything even happened to the child after that. But it sounds like there was a sacrifice. It was worth it to keep the tribe safe, to sacrifice one family every year.
Yeah.
Now, apparently in 1978, little Mikey Myers is being babysat by Mrs. Blankenship, who we never see in
63.
the original. Oh, 63, sorry.
Yeah.
In the movie 78, but back in 1963. So she's babysitting with little Mikey Myers and everything. She disappears mysteriously. So I guess he can do his, because I guess if you're in his house, your family. So she ducked out.
Well, she's part of it. She's, as we see, so
Right,
she
right, right.
she
But
was orchestrating everything.
right. So she was probably just watching from one of
She
them
put the
windows.
well, she didn't put the knife in his hand, but she might have told it like, so this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna go
What
across
if
the
she?
street.
The whole reason he crosses the street at the beginning of Halloween 1978, the movie, is just her pushing him. Kind of like, okay, first domino, there you go. Now you're off. Have your franchise. I'll be back here being Mrs. Blankenship. But
Yeah.
anyway, okay, so he goes in, he kills his sister, Okay, right off the bat with the thing, I also have to say, I love Mrs. Blankenship, and I love the delivery she gives. She gives such good ghost story. Like she's right up there with the old guy at the beginning of The Fog, when she's talking about, well, it wasn't always like that. Their eyes are, and it's so jarring. I remember the first couple times I saw either cut. It's always jarring to me just to imagine like her just as this, we've been introduced to her as this character that's just kind of not sedentary but non-communicable, again communicative, and basically just kind of moving around like a zombie. Then all of a sudden, when she's telling the story of Halloween, her eyes light up and she's connecting with the child and answering questions. And I'm like, what the fuck happened to you? I don't trust you anymore. Love that. Okay, so that night, a voice told Michael to kill his family, is the line that she says. And I'm like, except his parents. Don't understand that right off the bat. I'm like, I thought the whole point of the child was to extinguish everybody, all the Myers. So why, when he meets his parents at the end of that sequence in the OG film, is he just standing there with the knife while they watch him? And as far as we know, they don't even account for like, no, he did kill them right after that scene. They never talk about the Myerses. So did he? Oh, he only killed off his bloodline, I guess, from like Judith on. So just siblings. But then if you're in his house, your family. That's why he was going after the Strodes. And then I just got really confused because I feel like the producer's cut answered a few of my questions, but the plan. I I couldn't tell. Okay, just answer me this question. Jamie's this actually makes more sense for me in the theatrical cut than it does in the producer's cut.
All
In the
right.
theatrical cut, Jamie is pregnant. We don't know why or how. And he wants to kill her and he wants to get the baby. And I guess it's so he can kill off his bloodline so they can start this new, you know, generation of this child to kill off his family. And I guess Danny's been kind of marked. Yes? If that's the case, in the producer's cut, why does if Michael is the one to quote unquote impregnate, and there's all these questions, we'll get into it, but his niece, um, why? If the whole point is for him to kill off his bloodline, why create more of his bloodline for him to kill off so they can pass the baton from him to Danny? That is what's happening, isn't it?
I mean, like, I'm listening to every word that you're saying, but I just, like, my brain left my body like 5 minutes ago.
Okay, as
I
far
will
as
just
what the
say, no, no, no,
thorns.
no. I will just say
Okay,
that everything that you're
yes,
saying right now, like
yes,
this mental gymnastics that you're
yes,
doing,
yes,
this is like inherently the problem with a
right,
script like this because you
yes,
have audience members who are just like asking all these questions and like that doesn't make
yes,
any sense and this doesn't make any sense. It already doesn't make any sense in Halloween 2 when Marion is like whispering to Dr. Loomis about this file and how did nobody know that there was this daughter, this sister, and like all like it's just but we buy it. With this, it's just it's asking a lot.
uh-huh,
And another like reason for me at least why I prefer the theatrical cut is because Michael is and always has been like even though there's this he wants to kill his Lori or like his bloodline or whatever, there's still like an aspect to him that he is completely in control of himself. Like it's just
yeah,
it's at least something that the new movies explore, which I
mm-hmm,
give them credit for that.
sure,
That's just like it's evil. He's
right,
just it's just part of his unconscious mind. And
yeah,
this is what he does, and nothing controls him, and that there's no one dictating to him what he should or should not do. And what I like about, even though that this is a messy, meandering quagmire of a movie with no real resolution,
yeah,
I can at least take solace in the fact that thematically, what it is telling us is that if you try to harness this
mm-hmm,
evil,
mm-hmm,
it will blow up in your face. Like it's almost very
okay,
Final Destination. It's just like if you try to mess with death, death is
mm,
going to come back for you. So here's all these douchebags in robes who think like we can have this cult and we can control Michael. And Michael's just like, yeah, I don't think so. And I'm going to take this machete or whatever the fuck it is he picks up at the end and just
Right.
kills them all. Or at least all those like doctors operating. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. It doesn't make any sense. I don't need to understand it. It's the message is loud and clear. You do not tell me what to do.
Hmm.
And that inherently becomes it's like an empowering thing for Michael in a way because he rises up and it's
Yeah.
just like I don't have a curse. This is not
Mm.
this is me. This is my choice. And I feel that in the end, like all is restored, and it's just like, oh yeah, it was all bullshit. This whole Thorn thing means nothing. Whereas in the producer cut, you have Paul Rudd wearing the robe, take out his little. It's like he's a wizard or playing Dungeons and Dragons, and he's got his
Right.
runes, and he's
Uh-huh.
making the circle, and then he says incorrectly, Sam Hain. And
Hmm.
that, like, even like that should have told us right there that this is the, even though in this version that worked, but that should not have worked because he didn't say Samhain. So
Yeah, yeah.
whatever the case may be,
But within the
um,
Halloween lore, because of Halloween 2, it was
yeah,
initially said Sam
non-Halloween
Hain.
three movies or
Yeah, yeah,
Sam
yeah, yeah,
Hain. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
said Sam Hain, so they
yeah,
had to take Donald Pleasance's baton and run with it. So there you
yeah.
go.
Thanks,
But okay,
DP. Yeah.
so and I also want to remark, like people are commenting here. Amethyst says the only bloodline members Michael kills in the Thorn timeline are Judith and Jamie. Laurie and his parents both die in car accidents, which we never really acknowledge. I mean, I guess maybe we do in the novelizations of them because we know Laurie dies, but I don't remember them ever actually explicitly saying it in Halloween 4 how. But I remember even getting wind
There,
back in
there
the
were like,
90s that it was a car
yeah,
accident.
graphic
So,
novel tie-ins.
yeah, I think that's where we got it.
No, 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 but no, in Halloween 2, she says in the car before they died. I don't remember if she specified there
Wait,
was a
in
car
Halloween 2?
accident.
No, 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 no. I mean, her, that she dies.
Who dies?
I keep saying Jamie Lee Curtis. Lori,
Lori.
that Lori died.
Yeah, no, you were talking about the Myers parents.
Right.
Yeah,
See, I'm
they
so
died.
confused
Yeah.
right now. Okay.
So
So anyway.
the parents died. So this is what happened. And this is not taking into account the David Gordon Green stuff. Let's just ignore that. So
Okay.
Michael kills Judith.
Yes.
And I guess Lori's being babysat by Mrs. Blankenship in this time. Who knows where the fuck Lori is?
Who knows where the
But
fuck Lori is?
he's
Mrs.
committed.
Blankenship is holding baby Lori.
Yeah.
Because
Hello,
she wants a
dear.
franchise to happen. She
Yeah,
wants a
yeah, yeah,
saga.
yeah, yeah. Michael's committed. The parents die 2 years later, and then Lori is put up for
Okay.
adoption, adopted by the Strodes.
Right, 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 right,
They
right.
let him.
Forgot about that.
They're like, oh, we're gonna take our 4-year-old girl or however old she was to go to this sanitarium to see
Right,
Michael. And
right.
I told you I'm not your mother, and blah blah blah,
Yeah,
all that shit.
right.
So that means that, like, assuming that Michael and Lori's parents who died in this car accident didn't have any brothers or sisters, there's no cousins or anything like that, that would mean that the only person that is left alive is Lori.
Uh-huh.
Lori has Jamie, presumably with Jimmy from Halloween 2.
Blurry faced
And
guy in a photo, sure.
but he's not part of the bloodline, so it does not matter.
No, no, no.
Whatever the case may be, if that is her husband, he dies with her in presumably an auto wreck, because it always is. And that
Amethyst
makes
actually says here in
Jamie,
H2O, Lori says she faked her death in a car accident. That was an element of a script when H2O was still intended to take place after the Thorn
yeah.
timeline. Just putting that in there.
I just connect it all together.
Okay.
But yeah, so that means that, Jamie is the only surviving relative. And
Right,
then
right, right.
why they induced this labor, this pregnancy and child, like, hey, maybe they just wanted Michael to have like more people to kill. Maybe there had to be three
Oh
kills
my God.
altogether for this
Maybe.
to work.
See,
Who
all of that would
knows?
have been helpful. Also, I love
Yeah.
Adrian here saying it's retroactively written. John Carpenter would have never wanted you guys to rack your brains over this convoluted lore.
If we had John Carpenter as a guest right now, and we were like, and just
How
sitting
are
here,
you?
he'd just be like, "What the fuck are you talking
Yeah,
about?"
right.
Be like, "I need a drink. I
Thorn.
need I need some weed. I need my video games.
The only thorns
Shut
I
the
like are
fuck
the
up."
ones that grow out of marijuana plants. Okay. Hey, hey, hey.
I
That's
don't know what
my
this
John
is. Yeah,
Carpenter. But anyway.
yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Cha cha cha.
Cha cha ha.
So
Cha cha
yeah,
cha cha
it
cha.
just in terms of what everything that this is where I don't pay attention to the script. I don't give a
Okay.
shit what the script is doing. This is a movie that for me, for all intents and purposes, is style over substance. There
Okay.
is no
Because
substance. This is a flat soda with that has like all the fizzle has gone out of it, but maybe it's got like a neat like can or something,
yeah, Grant here is saying, also there's an incredible side discussion happening just about like diversity. I like that. Guys, good for you in the community in our feed. Anyway, Grant Dempsey, just to
Thanks,
stay on
Edward.
topic, because otherwise we'll be here for 3 hours. Grant says, but the theatrical makes it so that Michael's possession happened on its own, the ancient curse playing itself out, and Wynne became aware of it, inspired by Loomis's observations about Michael. So because Loomis perceived that Michael there was something off about him on his own, like he wasn't, and I don't know, yeah, maybe that's why Michael didn't kill his parents, because he didn't need a Thorn influence. Thorn was like, we pick you, and he's just kind of like, I got my own thing going. I'm gonna kill
Yeah.
at my pace. So back off, y'all. Maybe
But
that's what it
also
was.
the implication in this movie, and I think maybe just in the producer's cut, is that Michael is so stupid that he can't comprehend that the anyone living in his house is maybe not his family. So he just assumes that if you're in his house, you're his family, and that's why he's going to kill the Strodes. Because Michael is just like it's like now he's just like an animal.
I mean, okay, that's the thing about the ending of the producer's cut that really kind of it doesn't bother me. It more stymies me. I'm perplexed. I'm just kind of like, huh, like who greenlit this idea? Like you had to get the location and lines had to be memorized, staging had to be orchestrated with the cameras and everything that we're going to place these runes down, we're going to immobilize Michael, and then because I'm still at a loss for what's going on there. Apparently, what I perceive is that they started the ritual, they got the ball rolling. I think that wins kind of implausible, desire to pass the baton at Smith's Grove from him uh, to Loomis is just a ruse. It's just kind of like a what's the word I'm looking for? Almost just like I don't know, like a symbolic kind of passing of the baton for what's really going on, which is he wants to hand the responsibility of the Thorn killer from himself to Loomis, so that Loomis is going to be eternally tied to whoever the killer's going to be. And I think he wants him to not have a life, a free life. Yeah, after here, we toasted to old friends into early retirement and all of that. And now it's like, no, bitch, I tied your sack to a stone. And you're going to sink down to the bottom of the ocean with this killer that we've just now kind of like imbued a little boy with its powers or whatever. So what seems to be happening at the end is it's taken place when they touch, I guess, because now Loomis has the Thorn thing. It has his
Yeah.
moment. It sounds funny when I do it. It sounds like, oh my God, it's like Lucille Ball crying. Like, Ricky, Anyway, so Loomis is crying like Lucy. I don't want to be tied to Michael. But, okay, my question about that, and you probably don't care, but, is that Michael has now swapped like his mask and his overalls with Wynn. So does that mean that he's and he's left the runes? So because he's shed his shape form, which maybe that had something to do with the Thorn cult,
Yeah.
is he now no longer affiliated with them at all? He's just his own bad boy, walking away like cowboy in a trench coat.
I mean, I just man, his silver spurs. I just
Yeah.
uh I just took it to mean it was just like he was making his getaway. It's like, very, very similar to him swapping out with the paramedic in
Right.
H2O. It just sort of became his thing. In the
Like,
Dimension era of Halloween, it was Michael's thing to disguise himself or disguise someone else as him and then make a clean getaway.
if John
But
Carpenter had anything to do with this movie, I can see him before a take just telling the actor playing Michael, like, okay, so the idea is that you're gonna switch places. You're gonna do an old switcheroo because if they think you're in the rooms, then they're not outside, so they won't go looking for you. By the time they figure out that he's there, you're out like gangbusters, kid.
Can I tell you my favorite line from the producer's
Please.
cut, actually?
Yeah, what is it?
When they're about to perform the ritual, when Kara's like on this stone slab and all this shit's happening, and Tommy comes in and holds the knife up to Win,
Yeah.
and is just like untie her and yada yada yada. And I love how like quickly Win caves and he's like, do it. Like he's almost like a Bond villain. I'll be like, oh my God, don't hurt me. But then I guess to like appeal to Tommy's ego, he's
Mhm.
like, you have talent. You should join us. And I just see like, what is the talent? This
Yeah.
is this what you call talent? I mean, he's got maybe gumption,
Chutzpah.
but
Yeah.
talent, like you're very talented. You should join us. It's just like the weirdest fucking thing for him to say, and I
The
think he
next
just
line.
says, "Shut up."
Yeah, no, the next line
Yeah,
should have been auditions are next Monday.
yeah. Um,
Relax. It's high
Another
school, not
another line that
Broadway.
I like, which I don't think is in the producer's cut. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Which
It's
one?
just in the theatrical. It's when Jamie is giving birth at the
Yes.
beginning, and the nurse says, "Push, push, Jamie Lloyd, push."
I did not catch the absurdity of
No.
that. I was
That just
too
uses her full name.
I was too bowled over just by, wow, they're really taking their time with the edit here.
Yeah.
I feel more of the urgency and more of the everything like in the producer's cut. So I was just kind of riding the wave. But yeah, I think you're right. That's funny. I have
Jamie
to say,
Lloyd, push.
one thing I love that both cuts get right, well, I don't know if it's right,
Mm.
but I appreciate it, is Tommy's own bravado. He has moments in both of them where it's almost like he there's the let's talk theatrical first. Like in the pre-bravado, where he's kind of doesn't know what he's doing, but he's going at that lock at 2:37, and but he's kind of snickering and kind of tilting his head like, oh, I remember this. But what? I'm confused. I don't know. It's just so weird. It's the most random. I wouldn't change a thing, but it's the most random reaction to
Mm.
the predatory killer from your childhood is finally back on your trail. He might not even know who you are,
I mean,
but you
Loomis didn't
do.
even know who he was.
Yeah,
He
but
put it together very quickly.
right.
Yeah.
But then later, when he's that would have been funny if Loomis just went like, who? Who? It's the Mona. But anyway, sorry, another holiday. No, then at the end, when he just kind of trashes Michael, when we get that weird like green goo coming out of the mask while Tommy's
Yeah.
just wailing on him with that pipe. And Paul Rudd does this thing that belongs in an action movie where after he's finally kind of like, done his bit, he's like, okay, I'm satisfied. Kind of like chucks the pipe and just kind of looks at him like, yeah, what about it, bitch?
How do you
Like
like
he
them
doesn't,
apples?
yeah. He may as well say either of those lines or both of them and then just strut away. And there's a similar moment that I feel like the seed was planted in the producer's cut where it's when he sees Michael in the ruins, in the little circle of them. And he just kind of looks at him, and it's almost like what I like about it is kind of playful because he's kind of looking at him like, you really, you can't move?
It's
Like,
like
if
this
I,
actually worked.
yeah, like if I step toward you, you can't like swing it.
They
Like, I
should
mean,
have
he's like,
like what?
yeah, right. He could have
Do a
started going
little
diddly 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 dee
rave.
diddly
Yeah.
diddly diddly dee. You can't get me. You can't get. But that's a death wish. But it
Yeah.
is
It's
borderline
a
that for
death
me.
wish.
It's a death wish. It's a death curse. But anyway, so that's everything I have to say about that. Oh, also, I love his hunch. You and I have shared off pod, I think, Paul Rudd's little kind of goblin-esque.
Well, I think we see it best in the hospital scene
Yes,
after I guess like he's scuttling away from security,
right.
because it's just like this. I guess that the idea with Tommy is that, well, Beth says it, some
Yeah.
fucked up shit happened to him, and I guess it stunted him for life, which is just funny because like we saw Tommy, and this is this timeline. We saw him in the convenience store in four, and he was a well-adjusted teen. But no, apparently it, turned him into a weirdo loner who has no social skills whatsoever. Like the little moments, like when he's talking to the guy at the bus depot,
Yeah.
and it's just like. I'm not even going to answer that question. But the best interaction is just like, I need to see a doctor. What seems to be the problem? Get me a doctor, damn it! And then like immediately runs away, and she's security.
Yeah, yeah.
Hilarious.
He has no chill and no
Yeah,
tact, but but he's carrying a doomed baby, so who
yeah.
knows?
We haven't
Who knows?
talked
Who
about
knows?
the Strode family really
Oh
yet.
boy.
I mean they're essentially. I mean, I guess Tommy's the main character, but I feel like the family takes up such a huge part of the movie that they are the how would you call it? I guess like just the cannon fodder. He just makes his way through all of them one by one.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
mhm.
That was another thing that baffled me. I was just kind of like, you're picking Danny to be this next thing, and the whole point is for him to kill off his family. So many of them have already been picked off by Michael. It's
Yeah.
like he's not going to have any fun.
I love that you're still like it's just trying to write a better movie than
That's the
than what it is.
eternal part of me. That's the thing that keeps me coming
Yeah.
to imperfect movies is like, how can I
Yeah.
solve the problem?
I guess that like what you're suggesting is almost like what Corey did, in a way. But
Hmm.
I thought it was an interesting choice to make them the Strodes, to
Hmm.
make them relatives of Laurie, because I feel like it's almost like so like it's neither here nor there. They could have been any
Hmm.
family,
Yeah,
but I suppose the fact that it is Morgan Strode, I think is the father's name, of like Laurie's father, and then his
right.
brother is John,
John,
and
yeah.
they're just sort of like we don't even find out what happened to Laurie's parents.
Car accident.
No, everyone's just dying. So first Michael's parents die in a car accident.
Uh-huh.
Laurie dies in a car
It was
accident.
the
Laurie's
80s.
parents. Well, I mean, I guess if Jamie had no one to go live with except for the Carruthers, maybe the grandparents were dead. But then that betrays the headcanon that we created that they were just so awful that they didn't want Jamie either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, well, also, I mean, Jamie's been abducted by this point. Like, there's no nothing. No, nobody can adopt her anymore because she's thorny.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But
But well, I love that they've moved into this house,
yes.
and clearly, I mean, maybe the father knows that it used to be the Myers house. Well, he would have
Mm,
to know because
you
it's
knew,
yeah.
and you didn't
Yeah.
say anything. You knew. She says it like three times, but I love that
Yeah.
actress, by the way. But
What's her
yeah.
name?
Shit, I remembered it and now I just forgot it because I don't see her in enough things, but she was in movies all the, here, I'm gonna find it in a second. But she's in like all the movies that I grew up watching. I loved her in Better Off Dead. She was in Teen Wolf 2. She played a wolf, Kim Darby. And she was also
Yeah.
I didn't even know this because I don't do Westerns, but she worked with John Wayne in the original True Grit. And she was present at the premiere of the remake that happened like 15 years ago. So she's big time. But anyway,
Like
I love
the
her.
like Halloween
Huh?
remake? The Halloween remake?
True Grit. It's a Western with John Wayne.
Yeah.
She was a little
Um,
girl at the time. So yeah,
yeah.
she was big time. Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's playing such a timid, meek
That's
character.
her
Oh, one
wheelhouse.
one
Yeah.
thing that I did was annoyed that they cut out of the theatrical cut is when she slips the money to Kara
Yeah.
because we it's mentioned. He's just like, oh, that's right. Just
Just
slip
keep
her the
slipping her the
dough.
cash. Yes.
Yeah. And it's like, why did they take that? That was important. It established what was happening. But
Apparently not to the Weinsteins.
yeah.
But thank you,
But
Amethyst.
and then but they took out the Danny, kill for him.
How do you feel about that?
The Man in Black
Well, I mean,
shenanigans.
just his because I mean it's established. I feel like it's a little bit even more pronounced in the introduction to these Strodes because I believe there's a shot of the man in black before we move in on the house the night before. So it's not just echoing like the approaching the Strode house yet again, even though it's neither Strode house, but
Mhm.
it's, I mean, the Myers house, sorry, the Myers house, but where the Strodes are living. But in the producer's cut, it's established like you're not just walking up because we're echoing the original movie. It's the man in black who is moving toward the
Mm.
Strata. So it feels more like an invasion. You wonder, okay, so is he actually in that room with Danny? And does he have weird, uh, what is it
Well,
when you can?
I'm thinking not because like logistically it doesn't make any sense other than to say like he must be like Jason Voorhees warping around
Right.
because he's currently I mean the movie starts off he's at the catacombs at Smith's Grove then he's suddenly at Dr. Loomis's and this is
Yeah.
like out in the boonies like he even comments about how it was impossible for him to find it that might have been just in the producer's cut I don't remember
Mm.
and then he's suddenly at the Myers house and the thing is the radio broadcast is playing throughout all of this. So we know that it's all happening at the same time. So he's just everywhere. And this
Right.
happens a lot with Michael too. It's just like Michael is like he's at the Myers house. Then suddenly he's at like the campus. And then he's back at the Myers. It's just like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're going all over the place. The Man in Black is here too. Like they're I guess the idea is that they're transporting around in the van, the Smiths Grove
Maybe it would have
van.
made it, or it would have made more sense, yeah, if right before in the producer's cut, if when Danny is revealed to be holding the knife at his grandfather's belly, basically, like as a threat to protect his mother.
Yeah.
Um, love that scene, by the way. But I guess it would
Oh,
make more sense.
dysfunctional breakfast scenes in the Halloween franchise are a staple.
100%,
And this
yes.
one might be one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Wait,
right?
what are all of them? We've discussed them. So Halloween 4, do you want an oinker for a daughter?
Right.
Um Halloween 6, this one.
This one, and then
I
H2O,
simply think bastard hair is you.
right?
H2O is I want to go to Yosemite.
Yeah. And
Uh
then there isn't one in Resurrection.
There's two in Rob Zombie's Halloween one.
Yes, in the
There's
Myers
the
house
get over
and the
here, I'm
Strode
gonna
house.
skull fuck you, and then
Yes, and
the
then
bagel fucking.
he
Yeah,
touched me, mommy.
yeah. And then in Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's like
Uh-huh.
one fucking day at a time. If I have to let
Or depending on the cut, you see,
yeah,
or one day at a time.
one day at a time, babe. Yeah. Uh 2018 we had
Now I got
what
peanut
peanut
butter on my
butter on my
penis.
penis. Yeah, it's as
And
far as I
yeah.
don't think that well, Kills was the same night, and then ends.
The
I
closest
don't,
ends comes is boys who keep secrets don't get custard for dessert. But that's dinner.
or
So
when like Lori throws the pumpkin guts on the floor and she's talking about like fucking
Fucking, yeah.
Corey or whatever,
That's the
Allison.
closest we
Yeah.
get. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, like future Halloween sequel writers take note if you're listening. It is
Yeah.
not a Halloween movie proper unless you have a dysfunctional breakfast scene at the beginning of the movie.
I love that Adrian here in the feed just said Halloween 3, Chalice and his beers when he's on the
Yeah,
phone
well,
lying to
he's
his
calling
ex-wife.
his wife to say, I can't look after the kids. I've got a doctor's conference.
That's
Uh,
dysfunctional as fuck. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay, so anyway,
Heading off with this strong woman.
bringing it back to oh, Jesus Christ. I think she's a droid. Anyway, so we're back.
Heading off with this fembot.
It explains so much more in that movie about the decisions she makes if
But
she's just a
she's in
fembot
the
the whole time.
shower. Wouldn't like
No,
that get into
she's waterproof.
circuitry and
She's water resistant. She's the latest model. So anyway, anyway, so
she bled him there. The movie wouldn't have
yes,
happened if she didn't. Well, okay, whatever.
because it's a prank on the children and you,
Okay.
Doctor Chalice. Anyway, okay, so this we've done that pod. So anyway, this one. So we're back in this breakfast scene.
Yeah.
It would have made more sense because Michael is the apparition, I guess we've nailed down, outside the window in the producer's cut going, but you hear, we just said Chalice, like it's the only name I can think of now.
Terrence.
Terrence Wynn's
Terrence Wynn.
voice going, kill for him, Danny, and everything like that. It would have made more sense if it just would have been the Man in Black again, because whether it's, yeah, because then why did it need to be Michael? But you know what? I bet you anything, the only reason it's Michael outside a window watching is to create a weird, was he there question mark around the original movie when he's outside Laurie's window and she sees him with the sheets billowing. There's sheets in this movie too, so there's another homage. But
Maybe it's
with
like
the
the
sheets billowing,
ambulance
like,
in
was
4.
he really there, or was it just the apparition of her destiny that was, and which I don't need. I never needed that.
Mm.
This is probably my favorite movie, chock full of lore I never asked for and don't need. But I'm wondering if there's a movie that tops it.
Yeah.
I
Wasn't there a
also,
line at the end of Halloween Kills when Laurie's pontificating her
oh God.
her nonsense rhetoric
Right,
at
right,
the
right.
end, and she says something about like that's the true curse of Michael Myers or something like that. I'm like, no,
No.
no, I've seen that movie.
I never thought of that before. Because titles don't matter to me, so I was just
Yeah,
like, but that's hilarious. That I will think of, and I will think of happily every time I hear her
yeah.
say that. But okay,
After
so
she's like jabbed a fucking needle in her ass.
right. There are things about to bring it back to the Strodes in this movie. There are things about like the family dynamic that I appreciate more insight to. Like I like the fact that after that whole confrontation, when they go to school all together and everything like that, and the parents are
Yeah.
left alone, there's that moment where John is looking out the window and Deborah's just trying to sympathize with him and explain, like, that she's your daughter and all of this kind of thing. And you just get, it doesn't make me sympathize with him and it doesn't redeem him in any way, but it just gives some dimension as to his POV because he says he doesn't have a daughter anymore. And I'm just like, and he mentions, like we don't see her, hear from her for 5 years, and then she just shows up and all of this. And I'm just like, okay, so this is all coming. I'm always interested in that family dynamic. I'm like, okay, so
Yeah.
this is all coming from a resentment that she walked away. So you made up your mind a long time ago. She's no longer your family, and you haven't gotten a proper apology to your mind, or any kind of atonement that is going to like satisfy this need. This
Yeah.
or that's going to quelch this like urge to just kind of be as destructive as possible and slap your daughter across the face in front of her son and in front of your son. And I don't know. It just made me think like, okay, so this is a very sad and kind of desperate man, and it's doubled down on by the fact that he's day drinking after the infamous phone call from his wife. You knew and you didn't say anything. You
Ew.
knew.
Yeah.
And
Well, and in the
in both cuts he
producer's cut,
drinks. In the producer's cut, he
yeah,
looks at fucking. I didn't
he
need it, but I love
he
that he
takes
looks at
out
her
like
headshot.
yeah, yeah, it's like a model. It's not a headshot. It's like a full body like
Well, it's a. I mean,
modeling shot, and sh
just actor lingo, like it would be technically like we need a
yeah,
headshot from you. You could give that, and they wouldn't be like,
but
"This
but
isn't
it's
a
like it's
headshot,"
a
you know?
sexy
Yeah,
image of her wearing like
of the
I think she's got a
actress.
dress
Yeah.
of Marianne Hagen,
Yes.
and I mean I think he all but like strokes the he might I don't remember if he
I
like
don't
strokes the
remember.
picture, but he's just like something here's to you little girl or
Yeah, something like that.
something weird, and it's like is there like an incest storyline? I mean we already have the incest of the
Okay.
Michael and Jamie of it all. So I mean, maybe that's how it's linked together. But
Can, can I also speak to something? I'm so glad you brought up incest. Because, okay, I got to hear Daniel Farron's address the thing
mhm.
between the Jamie and the Michael and the conception of a child of it all. Now, okay, I don't know the last time he saw Rosemary's Baby, but he said his intention with this initial movie, especially with the 666 origin of it all, was that he wanted it to go into a much more kind of Rosemary's Baby lane in terms of, we're going to explain the origins of Michael, but only all the lore around Thorn, that's not his
Mhm.
stuff. His stuff is just like, let's just talk about like Michael is bred from evil and will continue and will pass on evil. The horror will pass from Michael to other people. So,
Mhm.
oh, it doesn't explain why Jamie absorbs it. Anyway, okay, well, I guess because it's not Thorn, it's somebody, it's him. So that the Myers have their own thing. Okay,
Yeah.
so sorry. He addressed the thing that, like, he says, if you watch Rosemary's Baby, like, there's this big incantation and this big group thing, and that's what he wanted, was just like a group thing where she gets impregnated. And I'm like, yeah, well, the devil is on top of her, assaulting her. Like, I guess he forgot about the close up of the eyes that are directly across from her and the fact that there appears to be thrusting of some kind, you know? And I'm like, I always perceived that as like a physical violation of her by the devil in Rosemary's Baby. So why, when we see a girl, a young girl, and then later in the producer's cut, because we see we're introduced to Jamie that way, and then we see that they do the same thing to Kara. They're tied in like white kind of nightgown looking things with their legs up spread, with their legs ankles tied to this slab that they're basically just kind of sprawled across, and Michael is just standing nearby while everybody's chanting incantations. But it's like, why would you think that they're incapacitated in that particular way? Why can't they just be in a cage or something, or under a spell, or his thing is just like, why would you just ordinarily assume like, or automatically assume like incest? Like that's just weird. And I'm like, no, I think that's the natural. The fact that so many people think it makes it think it's the most natural thing to think about what transpired based off of the visuals, which admittedly he did not write it that way. But like, if you're going off Rosemary's Baby and you're thinking it's supposed to be all mystical and everything like that, but that's not how Rosemary's Baby went down. So I just wanted to address that. I'm just kind of like, what, Daniel Farrens, if you're listening, watch
Mm.
Rosemary's Baby again for me. Um,
Uh, I'm not a fan of Rosemary's Baby.
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those slow burn movies that I find boring, you know.
Oh,
Yeah, I watched
but,
it recently, like
uh,
again, like a few years back, and I'm just like, God, this is like, I just don't get it. I don't get I mean, but that's like me and Jaws and stuff like that, and just
right,
all
right,
these
right.
these immortal classics that I'm just like, eh. But
Would you sooner watch
Amethyst.
Curse than
Would I watch
than Rose?
this movie before? Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Unashamedly, I would total I would the movie that like entertains me versus something that like goes on for like 4 hours, it feels like.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah,
they're two
I
very
know.
different appetites too, so it's, but I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
No, I've got my art house that I like. Rosemary's Baby's not it. Amethyst actually is saying that there's a fan theory that
Oh.
John is Danny's father.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's just I got hit in the face with that one. Wow. I never heard that theory. but I'm kind of scared
Yeah.
knowing that it's because I don't what you saw in him like drinking while he's looking at her headshot or
Yeah.
her, her semi.
Yeah.
It's wow. Why would she? What? Why would she go back? That's the only
Well,
question I have.
desperate times call for desperate measures. She's wanting to get her
Yeah.
psychology degree.
Right.
It's probably a situation where it's like, I've got nothing, I don't have any money. At least like
Hmm.
my parents will support me, and like my mother's there as a buffer, so
Hmm.
like things won't get really bad, and I'm older now and like more mature and I can
Hmm.
take care of myself. My maybe that's like her thought process. I always find it interesting though, because like and I guess this is confirmed anyway, that they didn't know it was the Myers house. But when they're sitting at the table and she's reading her books, and then this is where Kim Darby says, "Kara, you'll never learn anything on an empty stomach. What do they have
Uh-huh.
you teaching, like psychology or whatever the
You
thing
know
is?"
what
And
they did? The art of going crazy.
but yeah, and
It's
she's
like,
like, "It's living in this house is enough to make anyone go crazy." And it's just
right,
like,
right,
is she
right.
saying that because it's like the house of Michael Myers, like the House of Evil, or because it's like her family's house, which
Huh.
obviously it's her family's house. And then that's so
Yeah.
she's kind of like egging him on. She's like poking and prodding to get a response out of him.
Well, I mean, he's not the most agreeable person to be around, so I actually kind of like. I mean, I agree. Like, I mean, I'd probably just if I had to be in that fucking room, I'd probably want to hold my tongue and just get out as soon as possible. But regardless of whether the fan theory is
Yeah.
true or not, but I don't know. I don't know. There's something. It's a weird thing. Like maybe this comes from also just like when you're raised in an addictive household, you either rebel or you learn to kind of go along and try to make things run as smoothly as possible. I've always opted for the latter in my youth. So when
Yeah.
people take a stand and don't care
Well,
about shit starting, it's always been kind of appealing to me. I'm just
well,
like,
I
wow,
think
what's
she's
that
she
like?
she wants to test the boundaries, and I
Or
think
just be
she's
free. Yeah, just
yeah,
say her
yeah.
truth and
What
just
do
be like,
you what do you think of Kara as like a Halloween franchise final girl?
I like her. I wish I knew more. I feel like
Wait,
there's an economy with what we learn about Laurie Strode in the first movie, and same with Jamie in four when we first
well,
meet
where
them.
does she fall in? You don't have to give me a ranking,
Yeah,
but
don't
just
do
like,
I can't do
yeah,
that.
but just in terms of like who we have. I mean, because we've got Lori, we've got like
Yeah.
five different versions of Lori. We have Jamie,
Yes.
we have Strong Girl. Well, she's not a final girl from
From
three,
Season of the
but
Witch.
yeah, Jamie, Rachel, uh, Kara,
Yeah.
Molly, Michelle Williams' character from H2O,
Right, right. Yeah.
and your favorite Sarah, and then I guess Allison and Judy Greer from
Sure,
the
sure.
new ones.
I mean, I think she kind of gets lost because this is the problem. I don't often think of her when I think about this franchise as a whole. Even when I think
Mhm.
about the final girls, she is unquestionably a final girl. Like she survives to the end. And I would not categorize her as a final girl by default, the way we have often with, well, you're just the last one standing. Good for you. You
Yeah.
didn't do shit. Or you got saved. But with
Hmm.
this one, even though she has help, like I still think she's got that great final
Yeah.
girl energy. She's set up like one, certainly. But I feel like she's in a way one of the ones I spend the most amount of time with, and I have the least amount of insight outside of the performance. I feel
Yeah.
like everything that I like about her is about her connection with her son, about her determination to, study and change courses in her life at all against all odds, and watching her just kind of reel from that and juggle both of those things alone is hard enough. But then
Hmm.
um, everything that happens to her, the way she perceives things, the way she doesn't disbelieve them immediately and is actually kind of curious. And um, but then, okay, microcosm. She Marilyn Burns is out of a window off the second story.
Hello, dear.
Yes, so good for her for that. The problem
Yeah.
is she's passed out.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
like
she's
Marilyn Burns.
yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like she has to get rescued
Yeah.
by Tommy. But then she's like she's very scrappy and like assume like right away because like they get through the gate and he's like pulling her hair. But so she's
Sure.
taking a lot from Michael.
Yeah.
And then there's like the scene where they go into that like weird sciency room or whatever, like where the
The
final
fetuses
stage
are,
of the
yeah.
battle, the arena,
Yeah.
as it were.
Yeah.
And she's like full on like goes toe to toe with him, and it's almost like you fuck with my kid.
Yeah.
And like she's not winning this fight. Like he's got her
Hmm.
on that table and he's like choking her, but she's like fully prepared to do it. And I
Yeah.
agree with you that she's one that's like, it's not that she's not memorable, but it's just like she kind of falls through the cracks because she
Yeah.
doesn't have a lot of relevancy to the franchise as a whole. Whereas,
Yeah.
like I feel like Rachel, even though I prefer Kara to Rachel so much more, but like
Hmm.
Rachel has like is imbued with more purpose because she's Jamie's protector.
Yeah.
I actually feel that probably, I mean, Molly is one of the most pointless final girls of the franchise because she's just sort of like she feels like a secondary final girl by default. Like they could have easily just killed her off, but they had her survive in
Hmm.
H2O, even though I
Yeah.
prefer her much more to Sarah from Resurrection. But I feel like Molly, and we talked about this in the H2O one, that Molly was a character that we didn't like. They gave us breadcrumbs with her. Like, is
Yeah.
she like on some like work program with like the school because she
Yeah.
can't afford tuition? So, and her, she wasn't able to afford going on the Yosemite trip and all this. So, I mean, like, Kara's probably like somewhere in the the middle
Yeah.
of all of
Yeah. I
them
agree.
if
I
she was
agree.
there. But yeah, I wish that we got more. And I think that had this been a successful movie and been a better story, that they continued it on into like if Halloween 7 was a continuation, that she would have showed up again.
I love that you
But
brought up Rachel because there's a curious, not a parallel, but just like an interesting comparison between the two of them. Because I agree with you. As a person, I would much prefer to probably spend a day with Kara than with Rachel of
mhm,
Halloween 4, Rachel.
yeah.
But when we're introduced to them. But the thing is, you asked me to tell you 5 things about Rachel. I can do it. You asked me to tell you 5 things about Kara. I might struggle. And it's fresh in my head now, so I can
hmm
do it now. But you ask me a year from now, before I've rewatched these movies, and I'll probably be
Yeah.
like, Kara's studying. Um,
Well, it's like
like,
there's this backstory and we don't get the full understanding of what it is. Like, why did she leave? Why did she come up? Like, we just created our own headcanon for it right now.
right.
And that's
Whereas
not even
Rachel has an
including like
arc.
based on a fan theory.
But Rachel has an actual
Yeah.
conscious arc on the part of the screenwriters and the actor,
Yeah.
so you can trace exactly who she is at any given point throughout that movie. Whereas with Kara, it's much more oblique. It's
Yeah.
much, it's more.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's more nuanced, but it's less
Yeah.
clear. It's just kind of like you're going. She's more like somebody that things happen to, as opposed
Yeah.
to a proactive character in the story.
I will say that she was kind of giving me a like Michelle Pfeiffer Batman Returns vibe at the beginning.
Oh,
Well, firstly, her bedroom is like maybe not the same hue, but it's sort of like
yeah,
a
it's
pinkish,
darker.
like it looks like Selena Kyle's apartment.
Less
A
sad,
little.
more rosy, but
She's
yes.
got her. I mean, she's more strawberry blonde, but she's got her hair up in this messy bun, and she's got the glasses on that she takes off. And I feel like
Yeah.
I'm seeing like Selena Kyle before the transformation.
Yes.
Um, but I don't know. It was just something that like visually I connected with. I'm like, oh, I never thought about that before. Oh, and since I mentioned it, like, what do you think of the house this time around? Because we've been on a journey with the Myers house.
I think it's the least imaginative and the least, I mean, because we addressed in the last pod that the first one, as far as I'm concerned, is
Mhm.
kind of like a blank slate, much in the way that like the Shapes mask is a blank slate. You
Yeah,
could just kind of project anything you need to on that OG Myers house. In five, it's much more gothic to kind of match the darker, like a princess in the tower kind of thing that they have going, and you and I are
yeah,
both on board with that. This one, It just feels like it could be any house, but not in an interesting way. It feels not stylized, naturalized, certainly. But I don't connect with it. I don't think I never think of it when I think of the Myers house. How about you?
I disagree. I really like it. I don't know. There's just something about the way that they shoot through it, like just the way that
Um,
everything is like photographed. I love like the decisions made. Like it, there's just I guess they've just moved in because I'm well, we know they did because it was just like sold the sign at the front that
yeah,
that he's
right.
chopping down at the beginning. But there's just all this shit in their front yard, and I guess in
Yeah,
the back too. It's just like it's a decision, but and like the plastic sheets on like the front upper level, it's like, are they renovating it? Like this is a house in disrepair,
okay.
and it kind of tells a story. It's like Deborah's like this homemaker, but she's got her work cut out for her. Like he's off at the office day drinking, and she's just sort of like, well, I've got to do the laundry. I've got to like chop this wood in the front of the house for God knows what reason.
Hmm.
There's just there's all these things. It's just like that house is like the ironing. It's a disaster, and it like
Mm,
really adds character. Like this is the thing. Like I feel like visually, we know so much about this family
hmm.
without actually getting like anything on paper or expositionally that I really appreciate it. But like the look of the house itself, like I feel like it's, I know a lot of people hate on Five because that's a completely different
Sure.
take on the house, but at least this somewhat like brings it back to it. And I like how they at least found a house that had like connecting rooms because we
Hmm.
saw in the original
Right.
at the very beginning that like Michael's room had a doorway to Judith's,
Hmm.
and like it's implied that like Kara is now in Judith's room, which means that Danny is sleeping in Michael's room. And it's
Interesting.
sort of like the same idea that I guess like
Hmm.
that's sort of the what the cult's plan is like they're gonna do to Danny what they did to Michael, and he's gonna go in there and maybe stab her while she's sitting nude in front of her vanity.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, that's fair. I can see your
yeah,
point. I guess in terms of, because all I can think in response to that is, it's one thing that I really appreciated in Halloween Kills, just aesthetically, was the Myers house got flipped. It's
yeah,
still the same, it's got the same bones. It's still largely the same structure that we've
yeah.
been familiar with from the original movie, but now it's been homified. It's like as though somebody came in and just kind of
Homofied
homified.
and homofied.
And homofied, but
The
that's not what I was saying.
well
But
the
yeah,
the thing with like where Kills really has the advantage here because like this is all built on a soundstage obviously they to a T like took the architectural design of that house and like rebuilt it and
Mm,
like not only rebuilt it in its like dilapidated version but then flipped it and made it this like completely renovated house
right.
with like walls taken out and like completely
Hmm.
opened up, which is really interesting. So I mean, like I feel like that's always going to be just because there's so much correct continuity. Like I'm always
Sure.
gonna love that. I hate the house in Halloween Resurrection.
Oh
I mean, I
yes.
think that like it's just ugly. Like it
Hmm.
looks like it looks fake rundown. Like it
Yeah.
looks like
Yeah.
a set. And even like dimensionally, like it's not like they made an effort to try to make it,
Sure.
similar to what it was, but it's
Set
just like
dressing.
it's
Yeah.
nothing is really right where it should be. Whereas like with this house, it's a found location. And I think like, if you can find a location, that's better than like creating a set if you're not going to make the set exactly perfect. And there's just so many sequences that are take place in this house that are so well shot and so well lit that like there's so much tension that's created. Like I haven't even talked about that. I think that this is the scariest movie in the franchise.
Really?
Yeah, like I think just based on like the Michael's brutality, And just like the way that it's shot and just how these like suspense set pieces are crafted. Like I think that like we talked about everything that happened at the barn earlier. I think all of that works really well with like the lightning storm. But here we have a few because we have the first one with Deborah, which is sort of like this extended sequence because it starts with her outside on the front lawn and then we see the back of Michael's head
Hmm.
and it's very slow in a good way because we just see her like milling about doing her chores and we go down and we establish everything. We establish the washing machine and
Hmm.
that's broken, which then sets up the stuff for later. And then she comes
Sure.
up, Dr. Loomis comes in, they have their exchange, yada yada
Hmm.
yada. We
Yeah.
establish the axe and then we establish the absence of the axe. And it
Yes.
all works very well that like by the time she runs out into that backyard and she's running into sheets or does the Velma thing
Oh gosh.
as was mentioned earlier, it works so well. Like it's so well constructed.
Even prior to that, I mean, I guess you're right. It's a new house, but it just kind of makes me think like when she runs past that first sheet, like she pulls them apart to kind of like
Reveal
map
the
out
fence.
to reveal the fence and just kind of goes, "Oh, right, there's a fence there." Like, I mean, I don't know. It's in both cuts, and I laugh,
Yeah.
to myself
Well,
every time.
to be
But
fair, and this is piggybacking off of a comment that you made when we did the Halloween Kills episode,
oh,
when
yes.
I questioned why did Sandra stand there for so
Oh,
long and allow Michael to get that light bulb and stab her in the neck because she had plenty of time to do shit. And
hmm.
you said, well, there's something to be said about like being paralyzed by fear.
Sure.
And that's just how I rationalize with like Deborah Strode that she's so disoriented, like she's running for her
Okay.
life, that she's running out into the backyard and she's not able to think straight, that like no, this is not the way out. Plus there's sheets everywhere, which is already going to cause disorientation. I mean, not your favorite movie, but I will mention Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003
Yeah.
with that sequence where he gets his like leg sawed off from the
Yeah.
knee down.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
prefer that sequence to this one,
Oh,
but
well, I haven't seen that in a while, but I,
well, I mean, it's staged
yeah.
to hell. But no, there's something about. But I mean, I can respect that this one got there first. But but there's something. It's funny because I hear and understand everything that you're saying in terms of like how you perceive the house and how it's like this reflection of kind of like the dysfunction within the family manifests physically, Um, so all of that I can get on board with. The problem is I still can't get over the fact that if I were scouting locations with, the team and they took me, like making this movie myself, and they took me to this location and said, "This is the Myers house," I would be disappointed. I would be there with my arms crossed going, "Really? This is what we're doing?" Okay, how are we going to make this work? In terms of like the fact that it exists, I can see all your points, but I think from point one is where I take my issue with it. I just it just doesn't agree with me. I can get so much more on board with the almost cartoonish levels of of the castle like nature of
Oh,
five,
that
but
well, that's always going to be my favorite after the
right.
original proper.
But also, I think Five takes itself less seriously than this movie does. So I don't know. But I mean, again, it doesn't make me hate the movie. It's not a deal breaker. It's just, but it's battling right now. It's like neck and neck with the Halloween Resurrection House in terms of like which one do I dislike the most. The
You know
only
what would
points
have
that
been
this one has
funny?
is that it's real. That's the only points that it has.
Yeah. If Jamie was like in the movie more and like somehow came back to the Myers house and like let's suppose like Jamie was the one that came in and talked to Kim Darby instead of Dr. Loomis.
Yeah.
And she would have just like been walking around and been and say there was like a laundry chute and she'd been like, that's the laundry chute where I hid from Uncle Michael when he was trying to kill, like just like let's just pretend that this is the same house that we saw in the last movie.
No, new Jamie, new house. But
Yeah.
and okay, that's another thing that never really kind of gets brought up in the same breath. It's really much more accepted. I understand why, I think, but
Hmm.
because Paul Rudd, I think, is very memorable, obviously, and has that star power and everything. And
Hmm.
I love him when he's good, and I love him when he's silly. When
Hmm.
he's making really good choices and when he's making really silly choices. But um, he was like Tommy was recast as well. And I feel like it never really gets talked about the fact that I don't remember. I mean, in the same breath, like with the same kind of monotony of Danielle Harris not getting to come back and reprise her role as Jamie.
Hmm.
And it's not like I feel cheated because I think Paul Rudd does as good a job as I can't remember her name, the initials, the new
JC.
Jamie. JC, thank you,
JC
JC Brandy.
Brandy. Yeah.
As JC Brandy, I think they both do really, really good jobs in this movie. But how awesome would it have been to see the actual, and I feel, speaking of Halloween Kills, to have the actual kid from the OG movie come back and reprise his
Ryan
role.
Andrews.
Yeah, and have Ryan
Yeah.
Andrews standing across from Donald Pleasance saying, he could even like do something like brush his hair out of his face or something, just be like, it's me, Tommy Doyle from that night, remember? And he could be like, you could see the recognition in his face, and oh my God, it
Yeah.
would be so moving. I would have been
Yeah.
on board with all this weird incestuous, not incestuous within a family, but just incestuous in terms of like we've got Strodes, we've got Myers, we've got Doyles, we've got Loomises, we've got like all these people baked into like this movie together. I yeah,
Yeah.
there's something to that I wonder why it did it never occur to them because I don't
Yeah.
remember with that.
Amethyst is saying there's four returning characters in this movie and three of them are recast.
Oh,
So I guess
Win,
that's
right.
Win, Tommy, Jamie,
Hmm.
and Loomis. Well, five, Michael.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's any more that I can
Uh-huh. But in
remember
terms of
anyway.
Tommy and everything like
Yeah.
that, do you have any feeling either way?
Um, well, I know that the actor, because he was just a child actor. I don't even know if
Sure.
he did anything beyond Halloween.
Right.
I'd have to look that up, but he wasn't working anymore. Uh, but I think like he said in like interviews, and this was like back like 20 years ago. I think
Yeah.
it was like for the 25 years of terror. It might have even been
Oh,
before that.
right.
And he was just talking about, yeah, they never approached me, but if they did, like I would have done it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And then, obviously we have the Michael Anthony Hall recast in
Anthony Michael
Kills.
Hall, yeah.
Yeah, is it Anthony Michael Hall? Michael Anthony
Yes, it
Hall?
is.
What did I
It's
say?
it's Anthony. You said Michael Anthony Hall.
I'm thinking of like Dexter, Michael C. Hall.
Michael C. Hall,
It's
yes.
just yeah, yeah.
When Anthony Michael Hall played Dexter,
Anthony,
yeah.
yeah. Anthony Michael Hall. It's just yeah, so many names.
Yeah.
Um yeah, and I remember when that happened, people were like, "Well, why can't Paul Rudd do it?" And like different timeline. But I think they did like approach Paul Rudd about it, and he was just busy at the time.
Well, you're making Marvel movies, 100%.
He's
But
like, "I don't have time for this shit. I'm Ant-Man. Fuck you." Yeah.
but what was I going to say? But I mean, then I thought I heard that they even tried to find the Andrews kid, but
Yeah.
he was basically like by the time they tracked him down, they had already cast Anthony Michael Hall for Halloween Kills, so that's why they didn't bring him back for that
Yeah.
one. If that story is true, I don't even know.
I don't know.
Anyway, but
I'm
with
no, no,
this,
I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way besides Paul Rudd. Like this is Paul Rudd's show,
sure.
so give it to him.
I'm not disappointed, but
Yeah,
I'm it's not that I'm disappointed with Paul Rudd, I'm disappointed with the absence of this Andrews kid. But
yeah. The Beth, I wanted to talk
yeah,
about briefly, and I guess that we
yes.
Tim, the
Yeah, the
brother.
brother.
So Beth was
I think it's
uh
cool. Beavis and
uh
Butthead reference.
d yeah, I know. Very, very 90s. There's some dated
Mhm.
stuff in here. But do you know who auditioned for Beth? back in the day.
No, who?
Well, I feel like you do know, but you'll remember.
Okay.
Our
Let me.
favorite, Denise Richards.
Oh, wait. She auditioned for that too?
Denise Richards auditioned to be Beth in this movie.
Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, I completely
So,
forgot about that.
and there's footage on
That's
like it's
right. That's the
really
move.
mean.
That's right.
And I don't know who like the casting producers or who it was in the room with her that were
Yes,
reading it. So
yes.
there's a video you can find it on Instagram, I believe. I might post it after this. Um, Repost it. But
Yeah,
yeah, she's reading the line, which I guess is like Beth's like little speech. She's just like make way for the Hardin County Express.
right.
Whoa, blah blah blah. Everyone in this town's got corn cobs up their ass, and like
Right, right, right,
she's doing all this,
right.
and she's doing a pretty good job. Like I think as far as like an audition goes, like she's bringing like it's not like she's fantastic or anything, but it's just
Mm-mm.
like you can see like the the characteristics that like Denise Richards brings to her performances and stuff. And it was just like, it would have been an interesting choice for sure.
Yeah.
And this is, I don't really think of Beth like she's not really a
No.
character that really
Mm-mm.
makes a lasting impression, and I don't think that has anything to do with the actress. I think that she
No.
does a fine job with the performance. So it's just one of those things that I think in hindsight you would look back, and if it was Denise Richards that played it, people have been like, "Oh my God, like Denise Richards was in a Halloween movie."
Right,
Yada
right,
yada, because now she's
right.
just like larger than life, especially in like the
Right.
reality sphere.
This is how
Um,
larger than life she is. I remember the audition footage. I
yeah.
completely forgot that it was for this role.
And yeah, no, but here's the thing. They're like, thanks for coming in. She leaves,
Yeah.
and then they're still recording after, and they're just talking shit about her. And they're just
Oh,
like, what the fuck was terrible? You practically have to hand it to them. And I'm thinking like,
oh.
what do you mean? She was reading the lines, like she was doing it the job. Like, why you guys are being like super fucking picky and dicks for no
Mhm.
reason. But it's still nice to see it, it
Yeah,
just
yeah,
exists
yeah.
out there.
Yeah. Another question as far as like an aesthetic choice that they made,
Hmm.
because we've discussed it with 4 and 5. Another mask, another Michael. How do we feel about the appearance of this particular incarnation?
Well, I think that this is the best mask um until like the new movies
I do too.
came out. I think that like one and two, which is the same mask,
Hmm.
and then certainly not four, not five.
No.
This one came about and it was great. And they used, it wasn't this same one, but it was like the same mold. Like they made another one that's partially seen in H2O at the beginning. I think we talked about it in that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Just like barely like during like the opening with Marion. But everything else that they like the KNB and the Stan Winston
Yes.
and then the
Yes.
CGI like bleh. The one in Resurrection, which looks like it's all like primed with makeup and
Yeah.
with the smooth like serpentine forehead and all that
And
weird
the
shit.
poppy
No.
hair, the big old hair.
Yeah, I was like the Rob Zombie ones were just like a little like too grungy and like too big.
Mm.
I never liked the look of them in that. But I would say that this. So absolutely.
Yeah.
Really like this mask.
Yeah, definitely by in terms of like up till this point in the franchise, I think it was the strongest one. Not in terms of even a resemblance to the original one, but to the point where I don't look at it and get distracted the way I do in 4. I'm distracted all the time.
Hmm.
It doesn't feel like Michael Myers. In 5, it's like, okay, it'll pass. Like it's not the mask, but it's close enough. And this one I
Yeah.
don't even think about. I just kind of accept Michael
Yeah.
Myers is on screen.
I mean, and
So,
also
yeah.
maybe something to be said for the lighting, because I think like the lighting is so good in
Ooh,
this movie
yeah.
that like that also enhances what this was. I think that the mask as it is like already such a better mask anyway. But there
Mm.
is like it does like have like a very um like sort of like caked on look to it. I don't know
Hmm.
how to describe it, which could
Chalky.
like in the wrong light, which I
Hmm.
feel in the scene in the producer's cut when Paul Rudd is doing the runes because we see it under like fluorescent lighting.
Hmm.
It doesn't look that like it just looks like whatever. But like everywhere else in the movie, which like these blues hitting it, it just
Hmm.
like really makes it look creepy and not like exactly like the original, but
Hmm.
close enough in a way that it still has its own distinction. And I think that it's like scarier looking. Like it just like it matches the intensity.
Yeah, so much so that I, I'm not in love with one aspect, and it's just kind of like I want when he takes the midwife, the nurse, in the very beginning, and kind of finds
Mhm.
that random spike and just
The
impales her on it.
convenient spike.
Yeah, love
We
love
just
those convenient.
decorate these like ornate killing spikes
I just want to
all
see
over the
Wind
walls.
showing a tour and just going like, and look, thorns. But we've got our own thorns in our hallway.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he puts her up there and everything. And you already brought up like the blackness, like the vastness of that hallway and everything. And I love that. I love her performance, and I like his performance. The only thing, it's a total technical thing. The director in me is just kind of like, I want a smoother head because it's a very slight, like he almost doesn't do it, his head tilt,
Yeah.
but I want a much smoother, more connected to the original kind of like head tilt
Yeah.
while you look at her. If we're gonna go there, let's go
Yeah.
there. That's it though.
Yeah.
But the
Her
way,
performance, her performance was fantastic.
oh, she's so good, and she was
Yeah.
in Aubrey Rose, right?
I have no idea what that
Yeah, I
is.
think that's what they got her from. They wanted her to be. She was in another horror movie, and they were just kind of like, "Oh yeah, let's get as many, kind of like, what's the word, like editorial kind of, like
Yeah.
people whose fans are going to recognize. Just throw them in. Like
Uh,
originally, I mean, even though he is kind of like a horror character
oh,
actor in his
Silent
own.
Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, with the actor Leo Jeter, and
Is he
he's
the
from
one that was
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
impaled on the antlers?
Yes. No, well,
Yeah.
he wasn't on the Antlers. She was, but
Oh, his
yeah,
girlfriend, but
yeah.
yeah.
He's the
It was
one
that
who's with
scene.
Linnea Quigley. He was the one who was
Yeah.
sleeping with Linnea Quigley. He was also in the movie Near Dark, and yeah, he was the last minute replacement because originally it was supposed to be Howard Stern, and Howard Stern
Right.
turned them down at the last minute. So,
Okay, so this is something that exists in the producer's cut. So I guess like he goes to the parking lot
oh God.
and he's like he gets lost and this just feels like such a superfluous thing because it already feels weird that like how is Michael had just killed the dad and now he came back to the campus and then he's about to go back to the house to kill brother and Beth. So
Yeah.
it's just like it already seems stupid that he's here. But they make this whole like to do about showing that Barry Sims got in the wrong van because he got into like somehow there was the Smiths Grove van, which I guess is the one that's been all over the place and was
Yeah.
chasing Jamie at the beginning. So he died because he just wrong place, wrong time is
Hmm.
what that implication is. Because it
Right.
like after he's stabbed, the camera then pans over and just like, oh, here's the radio station van instead. And I just like I couldn't think of something more arbitrary. That reminds me of like, and just because the sequel is out now, the original Black Phone, when it's revealed at the end that
Oh.
like, oh, it's not this house, it's the one across the street.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I I love the things that get under your skin.
Yeah.
Oh, because that was another thing that stood out to me. They had an establishing shot. I know for sure in the producer's cut. I don't remember if it was in the theatrical. Well, because yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. But we get an establishing shot, and Smith's Grove. I don't believe it is, but it resembled really, really strongly the location that they used for Ridgemont Sanitarium in the opening of Halloween
Mm.
4. Like it's just this big
The
old kind of
long hallway.
house-like
Yeah.
structure up on top of a hill with like a gate in front of it. And its resemblance to Ridgemont made me think like, was anybody did somebody drop the ball? Because I'm back in Halloween 4 now at a completely different sanitarium than where we are. And I don't know, it just seemed odd. Maybe they all look the same. Maybe they all need to be on hills. I don't know. But
Yeah.
that was something that stood out to me. There was another thing. Oh, because here to bring it back to Barry Sims though, just one last thing. I love the disparity between both cuts in terms of one of our favorite moments, which is the little girl
That
standing
Amethyst is
underneath.
just quoting,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes! Because I remember for the longest time with the theatrical cut thinking, what an odd choice. Like, I mean, it's the one kind of atmospheric, it feels like it was influenced by atmosphere
Yeah.
that didn't quite land for me when she just kind of speaks the words, just like, Mommy, it's raining. It's raining red. Mommy, it's raining. It's raining red. It's warm. And then when we got the producer's cut, it made even less sense, but actually made me fall in love with it even more because she's singing, Mommy, it's raining. It's raining red. Mommy, it's raining. It's raining red. And I'm just like, Mommy, it's raining red. Like, I'm just like, it's so predestined. But kids, I know, just sometimes just sing to themselves, you know, like
Yeah.
it happens. But,
We just need like
and
a full-on like musical version of this. But it's just gonna be like, it's raining red.
Hallelujah, it's
Hallelujah.
raining real.
Red. The Cher now.
but I don't know this
Amen.
the sing-song equality because I mean the thing is when she was speaking it was strange, but the sing-song equality of it just kind of made me think like we're lost in her imagination
Yeah.
and made it and then it makes it even kind of more jarring when she turns to speak and say it's warm.
I love that this like faceless because I think we just see like the body but just like presumably the parent just runs in and grabs her and runs
Right.
off but it's just like the way that it's done it almost feels like it's this like child abduction like it's just like some random person because it's not like if it was the parent it'd be like something would be it's just like get away from there
Right. But
yeah
yeah,
but it's just
I
gonna come in
agree.
and
One one of many
swipe
abductions in the producer's cut for sure because
yeah
oh that's another thing the
no I think it
abduction
was
of
also in
Michael.
the
No I
theatrical
mean but
version
I'm just finding a way into the producer's cut because it's only
yeah
in the producer's cut what I'm going to describe when they're abducting Michael and pulling him into the van.
yeah.
That's strike one for me with the producer's cut where I'm just kind of like
And
okay
that's like
no.
the first thing.
And it takes a long time before we get to strike two, but
Mhm.
but that was the first thing I was just kind of like, okay, and he's just kind of what,
Mhm.
like did they drug him? And
I
oh, that's the
mean,
other thing. God,
they
yeah,
they
go on,
must
sorry.
have because he's been held in their facility for 6 years. Like he's not freely coming and going. Like
Yeah,
I think he's got like a nice room there. Maybe he's got a TV. They put out like M&Ms for him, but
he's not
they
tied
take
to a
out
slab.
the yellow
They
ones.
take out the yellow
Yeah,
ones because he has it in his rider
yeah,
that no
yeah,
yellow M&Ms shall be in my
yeah,
bowl.
yeah. And he
But
just wears the mask all the time. Like it's just so sweaty and grimy under there.
and oh shit, you made me think about something that you made me laugh and I completely forgot it. Anyway,
Mm.
oh one other thing in the but yeah no that whole thing because then oh yeah because then Jamie gets abducted. That sucks though because apparently she was like treated like a prisoner and he was treated you know like ET.
Like
But
a king.
yeah, speaking of candy,
Mhm.
did you also notice? And I learned in my research that Daniel Ferencz did this uh, on purpose. We learned finally what a stomach pounder is. The question is answered from the fog because the kid wanted a stomach pounder for breakfast, and Adrienne Barbeau says no. In this movie, when we get introduced to is it Tim
Yeah,
and to Danny in they're dressed alike. I always love that he's dressing up as like his uncle. But anyway,
yeah,
he's saying, "All right, so here we got the Strode stomach pounder 5,000 or something like that." And I'm watching what they're doing, and it's essentially like a protein candy shake. Like they like they throw it in the peanut butter, the banana, the chocolate bar, Snickers, Milky Way, Mars, what
yeah.
have you, and something else I can't remember, maybe milk, and then just mix it all up. And he drinks it for breakfast at the
Yeah.
table and makes a face like, "Ugh," and he's like, "Yeah, you better stick to orange juice, little guy," or something like that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so that's what a stomach pounder is. Now we know.
Yeah, but that kid in that movie, because he's like, Mom, can I have a stomach pounder and a Coke? And she's like, maybe after breakfast or dinner, whatever.
Right. So we
Yeah.
thought it was maybe candy, but maybe it was just candy related.
But
Maybe he
it,
wanted
yeah, but it's just
something.
like that is a meal in and of itself.
Yeah.
And she'd been
So he
like,
wanted a
no,
beverage
like,
with
what are you
it.
gonna like? You're having like 3,000 calories in like the span of 30 minutes. Like, no, and that's the same kid that had to be brought, the actor who had to be brought to the hospital on Halloween too. So just like imagine that was just like his thing. He just always has to be brought to the hospital, like get his stomach pumped,
Yeah, to get
get
his
the
lips sewn
razor
up,
removed.
his tongue stitched back
Yeah,
together. Anyway, I was really happy when I saw that because I heard it out, my ears pricked up. I was like,
yeah,
stomach pounder, and then
yeah,
I found out it was on purpose. He wanted to answer
yeah,
the eternal question, so that made me happy.
yeah.
I don't know if I have anything else
I think
terribly
that,
pressing.
well, that's cool. We've been going on for a while, so I actually think that this is probably the perfect time to segue over to the cherry picker.
It's not like we kill people on purpose.
All right, who do we think is the cherry on top for this movie?
I don't know. Who do you think?
I would think Paul Rudd,
Okay.
personally. Yeah. I mean, who else is it going to be?
I mean, I was thinking like Loomis in his,
I
final.
just like, but we talked about this last week. I just like Loomis doesn't get enough to do, and even then, and this is no fault of Donald Pleasance,
Mm.
but it's just like he's not like I don't think about Loomis when I think about this movie, you know?
In terms of like as a character that actually like drives the story forward and everything
Yeah.
like that. Okay, I'll relent. Even though I opened with like, or I don't know if I opened, but very early on, I think I said like the difference between the cuts was hearing
Yeah.
Loomis's
I mean,
voiceover
unless you think
versus
it's
Tommy's.
JC Brandy or the nurse, or she's not even called, she's credited as midwife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because I mean, I definitely think about them when I think about this movie, but
Yeah.
no, they're not the cherry on top. Like, I mean,
Deborah Strode.
love her.
Tara.
But and there are people advocating in the chat for Mrs. Blankenship, who
Mrs.
definitely
B.
deserves
Hello,
a shout out.
dear.
Yes.
Hello, dear.
She definitely deserves a shout out. But
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm cool. I mean, it wouldn't be the same movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it launched his career for a reason. So I'm cool with Paul Rudd, with little
I think
Tommy, sure.
Clueless launched his career, but sure.
Well, I mean, it put him in the running. He auditioned for Clueless while he was shooting this. He
Yeah,
read
he was just
over
like,
lines with Beth.
I'm doing a Halloween movie. And they're like, oh, Halloween. That's a very
Yeah, right.
promising franchise. Yeah. All
So there
right.
you go.
Paul Stephen Rudd it is. Can't forget the Stephen.
Yay!
Okay, so last week we asked you who deserves to die the most in Halloween 5. I nominated Spitz.
Mm,
Edward, you nominated Deputy Nick
mm,
Ross.
mhm.
That's the shorter, darker haired of the clown
Yes.
cops, just
With
for
the
anyone
wide set
who's, yeah,
eyes, yes.
yeah. Across Patreon, Instagram, and YouTube, the final tally came to 271 for Spitz versus 167 for Nick Ross.
Oh, well, thanks for coming out, guys.
I will say, though, that you were leading in both the Patreon and Instagram polls. The Instagram one was like by a margin of like one, because
Okay,
I'm looking at here like 7 to 12 on Patreon, 38 to 39 on Instagram, but the YouTube one is what got you
okay,
226 versus 116.
okay.
So, yeah.
All you YouTube grazes,
Yeah.
keeping me from the prize. All right,
All
cool.
right.
I
So,
concede.
Rowena Potter. I chose the deputy mainly because the writers just made him and his partner just goobers. Like, they even had dorky music just for those two when on screen. Well, funny, they were just the most inept police officers ever, and many of the peeps died because of those two.
I think calling them funny is very generous.
Jazzy Boo. I picked Spitz because that's just a dumb name. Mega Heath. Spitz. Dressing up as a murderer is absolutely way too far.
Mm.
Thomas Baker, Deputy Ross, Van Days. I actually love the clown cops. LOL.
Okay.
Robert Holston. Fortunately, we're lousy cops. That's a quote.
Okay, got it.
So, if they were good at their job, they would have shot and killed a couple teenagers over a prank. Plus, they are sitting in their car playing cards and they watch Michael pull into the tower farm and it doesn't register with them at all. Honestly, it's hard to think of more inept cops in a slasher movie. Sean
Okay.
Prince. This is definitely the first Halloween that broke me. I just remember it being very loud, aggressive, and depressing. There is an amazing set piece with the laundry hamper, and it was around that point I realized that I was watching Michael trying to kill a kid. It's just no fun to watch after a while. Subsequently, I get PTSD flashbacks when I hear Jamie screaming and crying, even while watching Halloween 4. Only saw it once, so I don't know who your picks are, but if they're characters in this movie, they both probably deserve to die. Nate Pollock. I picked the deputy because the cops really bring this movie down. But my actual vote will be for Mike, Tina's boyfriend. He's not on the screen long, but I hate every minute he is.
Okay.
M. Davis. That stupid, wacky background music when the cops are on screen. Enough said. B. Spencer. Sorry, Eddie. I gotta go with Zach on this one. Spitz is an inappropriate sex pest, and the cops are at least memorable with their clown music. B. Smoky Game. Dressed up as Michael Myers plus had sex equal death. Spitz's fate was sealed. I feel bad for the cops, though. Raven
Okay.
FX3. I'm voting Spitz. I watched Halloween 5 for the first time as a young girl, and watching this character on screen taught me the concept of being unfuckable before I even knew what that meant. So, because I had to wonder how Sam even ended up in the barn with Spitz in the first place as a child, I choose Spitz. He's the only part of this movie I hate. Dylan Jameson. Cookie Woman. Cookie Woman? Tina hands down. Oh, she isn't a choice? Well, this will be a hard choice between those clown sounding cops. Oh, it's only one of them? Well, that clown gets my vote, as I have no recollection of Spitz. G. Boney. Deputy Dipshit. The music, the goofiness, seriously. What are Chief Wiggum and Officer Barb Brady even doing in this movie? Great example of how when humor doesn't land in horror, it's just embarrassing to sit through.
Uh-huh. That's cute.
Aaron Ramirez. How are you balding at 17?
Hey, it happens.
Is that
That spits.
Spitz?
It spits.
Spitz. Death to him. Blue box 87. Justice for Tina. I vote Spitz. Grant Dempsey. Oh, this is funny. I spits on his grave. That's a vote for Spitz.
Good one, Grant.
You just see Tatum just like, what is this? I spits on your grave.
On your garage.
Garage.
Oh, garage.
Silent Saturn. Voting for Spitz, which in German slang means horny. While aptly named, it still grounds for death. Well, that's probably why his name is Spitz, because isn't it, you
Oh,
have a
pretty Puritan.
European
Mm-hmm.
director. It's just like this guy's name's gonna be Spitz because he's horny. They may as well just call him Randy.
There you go.
Adrian Phillips, Deputy Nick Ross, and it better be with an on-screen death scene. Use that sound effect to your advantage. He's he's just a cinematic anti-climax now. Spitz made me feel more uncomfortable, though. This was one of those rare times I wanted Michael to kill them much earlier than he did. I just had like a really funny thought. If when Michael killed them, because it's off screen, if they like made like a deflatable balloon sound or whatever
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
actually I think that might have been said in the Honest trailers or one no Cinema
Oh,
Sins or something, but
sure, sure.
it just occurred to me now. Just like like just like air being let out of a balloon.
Oh God. All right. So you get first pick.
Um, okay, well, I'm just gonna make this short and sweet. Dr. Terrence Wynn, because dude's just an asshole. I mean, look at all the shit that he does. He just fucks up these people's lives. And I mean, going by either version, but especially in the producer's cut, you should join us. You have talent. Like, fuck you. He caved the second he had a knife to his throat. Like he couldn't even stick to his convictions about, it's just like if he's running this cult, if this is a greater power that is more important than him, that he'd be like, no, 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 everyone stop what you're doing. He's got a knife to my throat. We got to protect me. And let me just like stroke this guy's ego by telling him he has talent. And he taught Michael how to drive
Yeah.
retroactively.
Uh-huh. Daniel Farron's made a
Yeah.
decision seeing the first movie. Like maybe someone gave him lessons. It's like, oh, what if
Maybe it was
Wynn was the
you.
one who gave him lessons?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know about Hellworthy Trespass, but okay. Because I'm actually shocked that I get second choice and I'm picking this person. I'm picking John Strode. Just unredeemable, irredeemable, unredeemed character who I feel nothing when he dies except a vague sense of satisfaction. Um, Even having the producer's cut kind of like broaden his dimension, as I suggested, with his, kind of like relationship with his daughter as I perceived it at that moment, and not the bombshell that was dropped on me, fan theory, during this pod. Nothing that I learn about him makes him a palatable person or excuses any of his actions. Like he this is the thing. Before the smack, even when he slaps his daughter, he sits there and he's back talking, she's back talking, like they're both kind of like, cutting each other verbally. But he knows he's crossing a line when he calls his grandson a bastard. You can tell, like he looks at her and then he looks at the kid and then he just kind of like does this like like it's almost like he doesn't say it and he just kind of like mutters it, just like, I just want to say it because like I mean it's so infantile and so well not infantile, juvenile that I watch and I'm just kind of like, you crossed a line, you piece of shit. You know that is gonna send her off, but you just want an excuse to smack your daughter in front of your family. So fuck you. And doesn't even feel remorse when his wife is gone. He's just like, oh fuck, she left. He's just a piece of human excrement.
Where's dinner?
Where's dinner? Fuck
Drunk,
you and fuck your
drunk
dinner. You
driving.
drank your dinner, motherfucker. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. Yeah, just drinking at work. That's not right.
Yeah.
He had every opportunity to make a right decision, and he doesn't do it once in this movie.
Mhm.
So, and this is the only exposure we've ever had to him. So there you go. That's my choice.
Yeah. All right. You
Not just
can,
vote your heart.
yeah, vote your heart, vote your conscience. You can head over to Patreon, even if you are a free subscriber there. Still love the support, and you can vote extra. You can also vote on Instagram. Follow us at the Cherry Picker Pod, and also here on YouTube. If you are watching us, polls are up in the community section, or I guess the post section. It hasn't been called the community section for a while now. If you go to the post section, you can
Post.
vote post haste.
Has the post arrived? That's the mail in the USA.
And yeah, make sure you're subscribed to us. Make sure you're following. And if you would prefer to listen, gosh, this is already a long episode. If you prefer to listen, the RSS feed link is in the descriptions down below. Edward, where can they find you on social media?
Shit, I'm gonna make it longer. I mean, Instagram, Letterboxd, and you can look at the old YouTube thing. All you got to do is type in "Edward is truth," one word, traditional spelling. How about you, Zach Cherry?
You can find me on my main YouTube channel, Zach Cherry, ZACK space CHERRY. Retro Bitch Face, all one word for Instagram and Letterbox. Twitter is ZachCherry8. Patreon again is patreon.com/ZachCherry, ZACK, no space, CHERRY. We already told you what's going on next week. It is going to be Trick or Treat with special ghost Tim McKay. Edward, you will be back the week after that.
Yes.
Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we will be right back.